are going to be coming up in the comments that are, you know, come from both sides. Elon Musk's critiques or his, you know, concerns that you might have, and, you know, Donald Trump always has something to say, and the words that come out of his mouth are just, you know, pure gold. Actually, just pure gold. So I am very excited to see everybody. You know, we have 10 more minutes until the actual live stream starts, but I hope you guys definitely enjoy, because I think what we're going to do is we are going to just scroll through Donald Trump's little his Twitter here and watch the amazing things that he has on here. You know, his campaigns are top tier. You know, his advertisements that he makes for himself are just some of the best. I've never seen anyone that makes top quality stuff like him.
In my body, and
know,
I will never, ever
it's amazing.
let you down.
Hello, everybody. How is it going?
Promises he made during the campaign, securing the border to foreign policy.
He now has a record as president that's pretty damn impressive.
Donald J. Trump is just an absolute hero of himself.
Executed an unprecedented search warrant. President Donald
Same thing with Elon Musk. Elon's going to be the first world trillionaire. I guarantee it. Ain't nobody going to beat him out. So for him to be wanting to have an interview with Trump, that really means a lot. You know, that kind of says exactly who, you know, should be the president.
Power to preempt political decisions.
Exactly, voting for the adult. I couldn't agree anymore. It is so true.
The only crime that I have committed is to fearlessly defend our nation from those who seek to destroy it. The more that a broken system tells you that you're wrong, the more certain you should be.
Thank you guys for stopping in.
Pushing ahead. They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them.
We will not allow them to take away our freedom. Amen.
They want to silence me because
Praise
I
God.
will never let them silence you.
I hope the quality is good for you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying.
They're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I just happen to be standing in their way, and I will never
Kamala
be
doesn't
moved.
have a chance against Donald J. Trump.
5th,
She never did in the first place. She couldn't even get any delegates the first time she ran for presidency in 2020. She couldn't get past the first state of Ohio, or Idaho, sorry.
America will always rise
so I really see Donald J. Trump just taking the stand and being our next president of 2024, winning the election.
These types of things, I think, give him strength.
Oh, this is going to be such an amazing interview.
Totally obliterate the deep state.
I mean, like, this interview is going to blow my mind. Because I am the biggest fan of Elon Musk. What he's doing with SpaceX, what he's doing with his Neuralink. I mean, like, what better thing to do as the first world trillionaire? To really help disabled people, you know, people who can't use parts of their body because of, like, the neurons, you know, they don't connect from the brain to the part of the body that it's working with. You know, it's going to be something. I am, you know, I could not be any more grateful for both Donald J. Trump and Elon Musk. And again, to have them be on an interview together is just going to be the craziest thing. I'm so curious what kind of questions are going to be asked and the topics they're going to be talking about. You know, it's going to be definitely something. I'm really excited to see what goes on. Really excited to see. Yeah, man. The interview will be starting in a couple of minutes. But in the meantime, we are just going to be going through Trump's Twitter, watching his campaigns, watching his advertisements that he has for his campaigns.
November 5th.
I mean, like, no one makes a better video than Donald J. Trump on supporting America, on showing us the care and appreciation that he has for the people. I mean, like, it doesn't beat him. Nothing beats Donald J. Trump.
And together we will win.
I'm very excited to see what topics they will be talking about today.
Of President Trump, of my president, then when he stood up
It'll
with blood all over
definitely be
his
very
face, and he
interesting.
raised his fist in defiance, and
For
he shook
sure.
his fist.
They're not coming after me, they're coming after you, and I just happen to be
And I don't know if you guys know this, but the investigation with the assassination attempt on Trump is still ongoing. And the things that they have found out about the Secret Service and the incompetence that come with the Secret Service and the people that are leading it and trying to, you know, it just blows my mind how careless they were. How we have people hiding behind Trump, you know, fumbling, trying to put their pistol back in their holsters. It just blows me away on the negligence that went on with that whole assassination attempt. It's disgusting. It's despicable. And I'm very glad that they are getting questioned and brought into a court system to see whether or not they deserve to, you know, walk free on this wonderful earth ever again. I am very grateful that Trump survived. I mean, he was great. Like, talk about if you needed any proof, if there was a God. If Jesus walked on this earth and that guy was up in the heavens watching over all of us, if you needed any more proof, the fact that Donald J. Trump had 8 bullets shot at him and only one grazed him by the ear and barely, you know, nicked him. I mean, like, what an amazing thing. God bless him. God bless America. I could not be any more thankful and grateful that he is still on this earth, being able to campaign for us and run for presidency and to fix this country and in turn fix the world. Because we are the epicenter. We are the strongest group of people in this entire planet. And we need more people like Donald J. Trump that want to show us what we can actually do, what humans have potential of. It's amazing. I mean, God bless America. All right, 4 more minutes. I am very excited. I could not be any more excited for this.
His views on foreign policy, and these ads
This is going to be
win him a following.
an absolutely mind-blowing, amazing thing.
In the ads, he says, "There's nothing wrong with American foreign policy that little backbone won't cure." And he says,
And it looks like we are
"We
all
have no
good on
business
all
spending
ends.
ourselves
I
broke
don't
in the
see
Middle
any
East,
problems going on.
protecting
I don't
ships
see
that
any
are not ours,
issues.
and oil that we don't need."
Rumblings
I'm
in the
very
Trump
excited
camp
to
went
see
as far as the
really what
presidency.
Elon Musk has to
Somebody
say
has to help
to
this
Donald
country,
J. Trump.
and if they don't, the country
Because I know
and the world are in big
they're
trouble.
pretty good friends.
Because within
Elon
a
Musk has
short
supported
period of
Donald
time,
J.
as sure
Trump
as we're sitting here,
for quite a
there's not gonna be
while.
a country, and
You
there's
know,
not gonna be a world.
he used to
I have no
donate money,
intention of
and I
running for
guarantee
president.
after this
I never got
interview,
so
he will
bad,
also
I
continue to
would
be
never wanna
donating
move
money
without
to the
telling you.
foundation to help him campaign and to help him with his presidency.
Together we will determine the course of
It will
America
be
and the world
a sight to see.
for many,
And this whole
many
interview is just going to
years
be
to come.
mind-blowing. I am very excited
For too
and
long,
very
a small
grateful he
group
is still
in our
on this
nation's
earth to
capital has reaped the rewards of
run for
government,
presidency and to
while
support
the
us,
people
to support the
have
people and
borne
show us the light
cost.
in this very dark time
That
that we
all
have.
changes
Because right now it is a
starting
fight
right
against
here
good versus
and right
evil.
now.
I mean, if
Because
heaven
this
and hell
moment
were
is your
put
moment,
into
it
2 people, it would
belongs
be Donald
to
J. Trump
you.
and Kamala Harris. And I know some
The
of the people
forgotten men and women
on
of our
social
country
media think that
will
Kamala
be
Harris is a good
forgotten
person,
no
but
longer.
there's too many things, too many signs that point to her being the devil, that point to her being evil.
Continues to trail
And
Donald Trump. Our
Trump,
latest
in his
polling out of
first
Iowa
term,
also
he
shows
did
former
God's
President
work,
Trump
man.
with a 30
trying to protect us, to save this country, and
the Republican
that's why
primary
he
is
needs
over.
a second
Donald
term
Trump
to
basically
do it
has
again.
this nomination
I
locked
can't
up.
wait to see what he has in store for us. And, you know, people will make the argument of, you know, Kamala being a good person,
Everyone
but
is
she's
listening
in
to
office
you
right now.
now.
She's vice president right now, and
I will fight for
Biden is
you
nowhere to be found.
with
He's
every
either
breath
dead or
in
on
my
his
body,
deathbed, you know,
and
struggling,
I
trying
will
to stay alive. And,
never let you down.
you know, she has all
My
the
fellow
capabilities
Americans,
of
our
making the
movement
changes
is far
currently
from
right now,
over.
and she refuses
In
to.
fact, our
It says she's
fight
campaigning
has
and having
only
concerts
just begun.
at her rallies instead of, you know, sharing good information, instead of, you know, actually putting into act what she plans on doing. All the things that she talks about, she can literally do currently right now, but instead she sits idly by and instead asks people to have concerts and do music festivals with her to get her more views and more support, and, you know, waste our tax-paying dollars to her driving around and, you know, making a fool of herself and making a fool of America. So definitely despicable of a person, definitely a gross human being. But all right, we have 1 more minute till the interview comes in. 1 more minute, everybody. Seems like this is hopefully where it's supposed to be going live. I'm hoping that I don't actually mess this up and watch the wrong thing on here. Oh, Jesus. Yep. Yeah, some petroglyphs, hieroglyphics, whatever you want to call them. They'd be called petroglyphs if they're in America. I'm pretty sure that's the term that we use. But it should be live. It should be live. Let me go to Elon's page right here. Once again, thank you all for stopping in and being here to witness history, to witness the future of the people. I cannot thank you guys enough for choosing me to be your outlet of news and your way to hear this amazing interview that we're about to witness. Because it will be a spectacle. It is going to be an amazing thing. Okay. It should be coming on very, very soon. It should be coming on. Now, how do we actually... So it seems like they're having some technical difficulties because the live stream is not live, to my knowledge. It does not seem to be live yet. It seems like they are a minute late, but for an amazing interview like this one, does not surprise me that they're having technical difficulties. Details not available. Please hold, everybody. Just waiting for this live stream to actually kick off. And if anyone in the actual chat knows if I am being mistaken, yes, okay, Spaces crash, yep. Alright, everyone in the comments is saying that it is unavailable and it is currently going down because of the sheer amount of people trying to witness the spectacle. So, please bear with us while we try to get this loaded up and have this wonderful, wonderful thing to witness. Yeah, they're trying. I see the attempts. I see what they're trying to do here. I just need it to go through. I just need it to go through. They are really trying. Thank you guys all for stopping by once again. Thank you for the likes and the follows. I cannot thank you guys anymore for using me as your outlet for news and, you know, your way to watch this wonderful spectacle that's about to go down, because I am a massive fan of both Donald J. Trump and Elon Musk. You know, I would be Elon Musk's adopted kid if I ever could. You know, what he's doing with SpaceX and Neuralink and the Boring Company and all of his companies that he has is literally God's work also. And just, he's one of the smartest people ever to exist. And he is, you know, the richest person in the whole world and will be the world's first trillionaire. So the questions that will be asked by him, you know, have to be grand and spectacular. Like, I can't imagine what Elon has to ask Donald J. Trump. It is going to be amazing to see. I am very excited to see what questions will be asked. It will definitely be a sight to see for sure. So, it seems like it is still crashed and it is still down. That is fine. Details are not available. They are trying their hardest to get it back up. Already, within the 4 minutes, we have 7 million views going in. 7 million views. No wonder why this is not able to go and it's crashing. That is wild. That is something. That is absolutely insane. How many people are trying to watch this live stream right now? And they are trying to get it back up. So far, it's saying only the app version. Also, the app is not working too. please hold, everybody. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you so much for sitting by and using me as your outlet for news and your outlet for this wonderful interview that we're about to witness. I am so excited. I could not be any more excited. They are trying their hardest right now to get this up and running. And if anyone in the comments, if you're able to get it, please let me know. If it's just me on my end, and if I'm being a little silly about, being on the wrong page or something, but I don't think I am. Is it working for anyone? No, it seems like it is still down, but that is no problem. That is no problem at all. We will be waiting patiently to see what is going to go down. I hope you guys are excited as I am, because this is going to be an amazing interview. Oh, I just got a text message from Donald Trump himself. I'm addressing the nation with Elon Musk. There you go. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. Two of the greatest people in this entire world are going to be having a conversation with each other. It is only... I'm very curious to see what kind of conversations are going to be asked and what questions are going to be had. Let me see. Yep, so they are currently still down. We are all waiting idly and patiently and very excitedly to see what this interview is all about. I am very excited to see. It is going to be absolutely amazing to witness. 7 million plus people are trying to witness this interview right now. So it totally makes sense that they're having technical difficulties and it is currently not able to work, but we will keep on waiting all night long if it takes it. If it takes all night, we will wait. Because I guarantee you, every single one of you wants to see exactly what I want to see. Two of the brightest minds of our generation talking and conversing with each other. The savior of the United States of America and then the savior of the world. Having a conversation, talking about the future, talking about the policies and, the process that we need to go through to make sure everyone in the whole planet is safe and protected and all the wars stop and everything. We are trying our hardest to see if we can get this up and going. It does not seem like it is currently working. I'm going to put that music back on because I cannot get enough of that song. I don't know if you guys are the same as me, but that song that I played in the beginning is amazing. We're going to play it again here right now for you guys. It gets me pumping, it gets the blood flowing. I'm going to see if it works on my phone. Start listening. The space is not available. Okay, so it is not currently working on my phone either. It doesn't seem like anyone is having access. I think we possibly have it. 155,000 current people listening into this conversation. And it does seem to be down still. So it says it works on the phone for some people. Let me see if I can... It seems like all the other people doing the live streams on the internet, on their computers, do not have access. But let me see if I can get it on my phone. Nope. It is not currently working on the phone. But that is completely fine. We're gonna... Servers. How much money? I think Elon Musk just put in $400 million? Don't correct me on that. I think it was $400 million with doing servers for his new AI that he has coming out. So even with the $400 million server, we are still getting crashes and technical difficulties on his end, which is just shows you the amount of people that want to witness this. Yeah, no, it is to make sure that we're getting the right people into our country and not the evil people. Hold on one second, everybody. I just need to do that. Here we go. Here we go. I must say, not to hype myself up, but I look amazing today. The suit that I got is definitely really good. I am very, very happy with my suit choice that I have chosen. And I hope you guys like my suit too. It is definitely the nicest I've ever dressed in my whole life. So I hope you guys appreciate the... Now, I hope you guys don't think that song is getting annoying or repetitive. I can listen to that all day long. I can listen to that song all day long. It is my hype song. For sure. For sure.
Night.
So, it still seems like we are currently offline, but let's listen to what my boy Benny Johnson has to say.
Then our producer gets locked out.
About the interviews that are going to go on.
You know, we're sitting here. I'm sitting here looking at the space. I'm in, you know, on the space. It shows Tim Pool.
Yeah, they're talking about the technical difficulties also. We are all struggling really hard to get on. Oh, it seems like we actually might be back up. It seems like we actually might be... Nope, the space is unavailable. Wow. Every time it has... We need more people like you guys that are watching it on TikTok and other platforms instead of watching it on X or Twitter. The tweets. What are they called now if they're not called tweets? Does anyone know? Does anyone know what they're called now instead of tweets? Are they called X's? Where we're sending X's? I'm actually curious what Elon Musk calls them now. I guarantee they're still called tweets. Because I don't know a better term you could possibly use than that one. But they are trying their hardest and it does not seem to be going. So we're just going to go back. We're going to go back to the big screen. Go back to the big screen and hopefully they will be getting this all sorted. We are now 15 minutes behind, but that is no problem by me. I will stay up 24/7 if it requires it to watch this interview because I desperately need to see what Elon Musk has in question for Donald Trump and, you know, what questions he has in mind and lined up to ask him. I guarantee he has the best questions. He just has to have the best questions possible. There's no way that he doesn't. Because again, he is one of the smartest, if not the smartest minds in this current day and age. You know, when I can't think of his name right now, but that's fine. That's fine. We don't have to think of his name right now. There are smarter minds that are out there, but he is definitely up there for one of the absolute geniuses that we have alive on this planet right now. But if Stephen Hawking was still alive, then he would be by far the smartest because when he was alive, he just, you know, he just had it all, man. And sadly, he's not because Elon Musk's Neuralink would have been the perfect thing for him to be able to fully control, you know, his mind and be able to project what his actual thoughts are in real time. And I would just love to know what goes through that guy's mind. I would absolutely love to know what is going on in Stephen Hawking's mind. But I also... No, dude, it works and then it doesn't work. I mean, like, they're trying. I see it go up for 2 seconds, then I see it crash. So they're really, really trying to get this to work for everyone. Thank you guys for watching and standing by and, you know, being here with me while they try to fix this technical difficulty. And it still seems like they are struggling Man, it like works for 2 seconds and then it goes. Only on the phone, though. It seems like it's only on X app. The X platform on my cellular device is the only way it is actually potentially working. It works for about 2 seconds and then it crashes. I see everybody in it. I see the mass amount of people that are able to maybe watch it, but we are trying our hardest to get you guys up with the rest of them. But it seems like none of the live streams are currently working for anybody else. All the other live streams that are ready to watch this are also in the same predicament as me. So thank you guys for patiently waiting with me while they try to troubleshoot this. Yeah, that's a pretty funny comment. Sorry, everybody. Thank you all for patiently waiting. I appreciate it so much. Space is broken. Is this happening to anyone else? Alright, a guy named Taco. Taco was able to get in. Any of the other big live streams? No, it seems like it is only a small portion of people. It seems like only a handful of people are able to get in, and of course, it is no one on an actual live stream to where we can listen and witness what's going on. But it seems like nothing is actually happening. It seems like they have elevator music going on in the background until they fix this technical difficulty. But I will keep spamming it. I know I'm part of the problems on why it's broken right now. But we will keep trying. For you guys, I will never stop trying. I will never stop fighting. Accept and speak. Allow microphone access. Oh. No. It almost worked. I mean, it almost worked on my phone. That was the furthest I was able to get on my phone. Ooh. That was so close. That was a breath away from us getting in, everybody. That was a breath away. And again, it does not seem like any other live streams are able to access it like I am. But we will keep trying. We will be here till 2 in the morning if it so requires it to be. Once again, thank you all for stopping in and giving us likes and following. I could not appreciate you guys anymore. Y'all are the absolute best. You know, I'm very thankful for all of you, every single person. You know, I could not be here doing this without you guys. So I cannot thank you enough. But it still does seem like we are struggling to gain access to the live stream. That is completely fine. It is completely fine. Let's go back to Benny Johnson and what he has to say.
Are on Elon Musk announcing seconds ago that there was a cyber attack. A cyber attack.
Oh, there's a cyber attack. Okay.
On the space. And
it's probably Kamala supporters.
Either way, the conversation
got to be Kamala supporters that are doing the cyber attack, because
just a lower number
what
of
other
people will be
monsters
allowed
would try to stop
Alex and I
an interview like
our
this?
producers are working furiously to get into the space.
Yeah, and what's interesting, it's a little different than the DeSantis era, because
so there
the
is
DeSantis era, they were having
DDoSing going on currently right now with the live interview.
And they had
it appears to be a massive DDoS attack on X, working on shutting it down. Worst case,
like
we will proceed with a smaller number of the live stream listeners and post a conversation later.
Whereas,
let's
like
hope
I said, the
they
last
don't do
time,
that.
they
Let's hope
weren't
that's
even
not the
able to get
case.
the space up and
I hope
running.
that we
That's why
all
they
gain
had to
access and we are all
down
allowed
and
to listen to it
restart.
live. That'd be very unfortunate if we were
So at
not
least
allowed
this
to
time,
all
like
partake
Elon
in
just
this
said, they
spectacle
could
of
proceed
an
with
interview.
the conversation. It's just unfortunate that
But thank you,
a
Elon Musk,
smaller
for
amount of
making the
people will be able
update.
to have live
You know, I will show you
access
guys
to
this
it.
current update that we have
But that
going on.
does show a difference between the two errors.
So
that we
as you
saw
see
in the
here, it
DeSantis
appears to be
case
a
and now in
massive
this case.
DDoS attack going on the X platform. Working on
Very
shutting it down.
interesting.
Worst case, we'll
There
proceed
were a lot
on
of
a
people that
smaller
did not
number of
want this
listeners and post
live
a
to go
conversation
forward.
later. So
Yeah.
once again, I really
Right,
hope
but
that that's not the case. And
that did not want this to happen, including the European Union, ALX. Please explain.
I hope.
Yeah, so the European Union.
I really hope that we actually
sent
get to
a threatening
partake
letter
on this
Elon
amazing
Musk today,
interview.
in which he was thoroughly ratioed into the sun
I
by
really do.
multiple users. And he was saying basically that there was a risk that there would be hate speech and other concerning language on the space, given the nature of
Let's see what people have to
Donald
say.
Trump himself as a candidate, and then also
Elon, I'm
there
literally
were
shaking right
issues
now.
with,
Please do whatever you can to get me in the room.
there's
I cannot agree
riots and
more.
stuff
This
in
is
the
nuts.
UK,
Yet another
and
attack
a lot
on
of
free
people were
speech.
pointing
Oh,
out, it's like,
amen to
the
that.
UK is no longer even
Exactly. A
part
bunch of Kamala supporters trying to deny us
Not
of
only
our
do they not
right
have
to
jurisdiction over
listen to
free
these two
speech in
geniuses
America,
have a conversation
and,
with each
they
other
can't tell
and talk about very important matters
Americans what to do with
of
their
what
free
this
speech,
is,
but
what
they're
society
not
and the world
even,
are going
the
through.
UK isn't even a member of the EU anymore. So basically,
Stream
they're
it on
threatening
X.
them, saying we make up about a third of your user base, and we'd hate to have something
Never
happen where-
Goon. Company finds the people who are DDoSing.
Is that accurate?
That's pretty
They make
funny.
up a third?
That is pretty funny.
I'm not sure.
Elon, I can't log in. I'm trying to enter with my printer. We're waiting here for the fix.
See exactly what he said.
It's Dems fighting to save the democracy with two massive disruptors.
But yeah, so
They definitely are
basically was
terrified of
putting a gun
President
to his
Trump.
head and saying, yeah,
I mean, these people who are doing the
hate to ban
DDoS
it in
attacks
the EU
are
is
a
essentially
bunch of
what he's
cave
saying.
trolls that
Goodness.
have no respect for themselves or the
Ladies and
society
gentlemen,
and the world that they live in.
I know
and
I'm
that's
being
why they
redundant
feel the
here,
need
but
to
the
shut
entire
down
internet here.
our right
let me pop
to be
let me
here.
pop up this right here. Okay, so here we go. I'm navigating. This is me on President Trump's
Effing
page.
Democrats never want to play nice.
I'm supposed to be able to click right here, this icon right there, and get into President Trump's page.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Sadly-
They should just do a live stream instead of
sadly,
these
no,
these spaces.
I can't. You can note.
I do
You'll
agree with
notice
that.
that
It
the
is very
screen
strange,
goes gray, right? That's not your screen being
that they chose
fuzzy.
to
That's actually happening
to do a
where I'm
space
being
instead of a live
locked
stream.
out here of the space. The space is not available, is what this looks like. This is President Trump sharing the space. See President Trump doing major numbers today.
Yes,
with
it is
millions of views.
very interesting that they are choosing to do a space instead of actually doing a physical live stream. There probably is a reason for it. Elon Musk is a very intelligent, smart person, so I guarantee he has a reason. Oh my god, I have to show this. Breaking the internet. Look at that. Neo and Morpheus coming in. The two absolute bosses. Oh, ain't that just amazing? Don't you just love to see that? That's a computer wallpaper right there. I should put that on my phone wallpaper, actually. Ooh, wouldn't that just be such a badass thing to have? We tested the system with 8 million concurrent listeners earlier today. Whoa. Wow. That is wild. That is absolutely insane. But that is just like Elon Musk. He's batting down all hatches to ensure the fact that everything goes swimmingly. And of course, cave trolls and these online hackers have to ruin everyone's time here. Nope, it is still not working on my phone. No matter what I am doing here, does not seem like we can gain access. And according to all of these, everyone else is having the exact same problems. Hang on, getting the space and Trump work. Oh, having trouble joining the space with Donald Trump. Yes, everyone seems to be having trouble. Sydney Sweeney, everybody. Jeez. Ain't she something? Ain't she something? We are trying to get this back and running. We are doing everything possible to gain access to this live stream. Again, like, I'm getting pretty far on my phone. I can get further on my phone than I can on my computer, but we still cannot gain access to the space. And I know Elon is trying his damnedest to make this work. Mr. President, I can wait to hear you. Ooh, Aiden Ross has the space open. Does he really?
Why is the chat so slow? And then you're gonna be weird. Shoff, you know I just literally had to ban these fucking...
Okay, whoa, whoa, whoa. Alright, they have not started, it seems like they're still listening to elevator music. And I guarantee you guys do not want to listen to Aiden Ross speak and, swear up a storm, because I definitely don't. He had an interview with Trump earlier, which was, a spectacle of itself, and, I actually really appreciate him for the questions that he asked and the topics that he was going on about. I do have to commend Aiden Ross for that, but, does not mean that I want to sit there and listen to him. Especially for an interview like this. I guarantee all of you feel the exact same way I do. But we are trying our hardest, everybody, to get this operational. I will keep attempting on my phone. If we can get it on the phone, I would take that as a win. Let me actually go to Aiden Ross's stream real quick. And just... No, he is watching gambling. Alright, we will keep his stream up just in case we miss out on being able to join. But I hope everyone knows that I'm trying everything possible to get this up and running for you, because you guys want to see it just as much as me. You guys want to see it just as much as me. I guarantee it. Thank you all for waiting patiently. Thank you, thank you. And thank you for all the follows and likes that you guys are doing. Oh, here we go. We have access, everybody. We have gained access. I think we are live on the interview. Oh yeah, we got elevator music. We have access, everybody. We have gained access. We have gained access and we are listening to this elevator music, which is very interesting. Which is very interesting. All right. This is amazing. We have actually gained access to the live stream. We are currently in, and it seems like all the other people, minus a select few, are not able to get in, but that does not matter. We have actual access to the live stream, everybody. We are currently here, waiting patiently for this to move forward. This is absolutely amazing. Thank you all for stopping in. Thank you all for choosing me as your outlet for news and this wonderful interview that we're about to witness. Thank you guys so much. I cannot say it enough. I know I have said it a lot today, but because I truly mean it. I truly appreciate you guys. This is going to be awesome. We have actually gained access. All right. Yeah. What is this music? Ooh. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. I did not mean to refresh that. Oh no. Oh, did I really just ruin it? I hope I didn't just ruin it. Ooh, we could have whiffed it. We could have whiffed the ball, baby. We could have whiffed the ball. Nope. We're back in. Yeah, when we going in, Donald Trump is my king, cause we can't swear on this queen. Yeah, Should I start rapping to this, guys? I don't think you want to hear that. I don't think you guys want to hear that. Oh, this is amazing. I am so glad we were actually able to access and get into this. I am very glad we did not have to wait till tomorrow or another day, another time to be able to join in. This is gonna be amazing. This is going to be amazing. I cannot wait. I am so excited. I am absolutely stoked for this, everybody. I hope you guys are too. We actually gained access. Yeah. Donald J. Trump is the king. Oh. Savior of the world. Yeah, gonna steal your girl. Yo. This is absolutely... That is a lot of people watching. That is a lot of people listening into this. That is crazy. This is definitely going to be the biggest interview to happen of all time. Of all time, this is going to be the biggest interview. Oh, we have audio. Someone's in the background. I don't know. Okay, there you go. He just unmuted his mic. That's funny. He did not mean to unmute that. That is hilarious. It seems that we all are having access to the live stream. We are back in business, everybody. We are back in business. This is amazing. Once again, thank you guys for using me as your outlet for watching this interview and for your news. You know, I try to be as truthful and honest as I possibly can and, you know, give you guys my opinion on the state of the world and how we need to progress as a society, not dividing ourselves instantly into groups, but as a whole. Because that's what matters most. Is all of us working together as a group and not dividing ourselves instantly into sections. This is going to be an amazing thing for all of us. We actually have access. This is going to be an amazing interview. I should be starting soon. I don't think they've realized that they're actually back in business and working again. Does not seem like they are currently knowing that. But that is completely fine. I hope I am entertaining you guys enough in the time being while we wait. But I could not be any more excited for this interview. It is going to be an amazing thing to litness. Ooh, the fitness exam. Ooh. All right. We're looking at almost 1 million people listening into this conversation. Almost 1 million people. That is absolutely insane. I cannot wait to hear what Elon has to say to Donald J. Trump and what Trump has to say to Elon himself. Because I know they were good friends. You know, Elon supported him in his first term and kind of supported him in his second one. And, you know, with this interview, I guarantee that's him showing the fact that he is 100% full support until the end of time. So we are currently just waiting on the actual interview to start. I hope the audio and the quality for everyone is top tier. And I sound nice and crisp, and I know I look pretty good, I will say. I know I look amazing. You know, I just went out and got this suit, you know, fitted. It is tailored to my body size. And, you know, I'm very proud and happy with how it looks, and I hope you guys enjoy it too. There's a little crease in my tie, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but you guys probably didn't even notice until I pointed that out. You guys probably didn't notice. Elon Musk has joined the group chat. Let's go. Elon Musk has joined the group chat, everybody. This is so cool. I could not be any more excited. This is, like, actually amazing. I am so happy. This is going to be insane. This is the pinnacle. The future of America right now in this call. All 1 million people here want the betterment of society. They want to see society progress in a positive way and stop hating each other and throwing shade and critiquing and questioning people's lifestyles. Everyone here in this chat right now that are here to listen and witness this interview all want us to be one symbiosis, one single unit instead of dividing ourselves into groups. Because we don't. The second you have Democrats and Republicans, we're automatically splitting ourselves into two different groups. And whoever created that, or the founding fathers that created this idea, was, you know, not thinking about the future clearly. Because the second we divide ourselves into two groups, you know, we're setting ourselves up for failure. Because we all have a commonality of our mindsets. We all think about the same, except for we have little minute differences in our personalities that, you know, now because we have a slight little difference, we're going to say that we're Democrats or Republicans. Like, that's silly. You know, we need to not divide ourselves, and we need to focus on the problems at hand and not divide ourselves and split us into two groups. And I hope that makes sense, and I hope you guys agree with that, because I want all of us to be happy. I want to see the future. I want to see the future of technology. I just finished the book series. It's called Scythe, and it's about, you know, the future of the exact world we live in, except for there's this AI called the Thunderhead that watches over the whole world and protects us. And of course, you know, there's this other group called Scythes that are above the law, and they glean people, as what they call it, to keep population control, because, you know, people live for thousands of years if you allow it, because they progress so far to where, you know, any diseases or anything don't exist anymore. And I want us to get to that future. You know, obviously not the Scythes, but, you know, having an AI that protects us and watches over us, manages the whole planet, making sure that all the oceans and all the lakes are clean. You know, you can go up to them and drink them and, you know, have zero issues. Earthquakes, it sets off little earthquakes here and there so that you don't have any high magnitude earthquakes. Like, what an amazing idea. Like, what a cool thing to be able to think about. And
all right, hello everyone.
Hello, Elon.
My apologies for the late start. We unfortunately had a massive distributed denial of service attack against our servers, and saturated all of our data lines. Like, basically hundreds of gigabits of data were saturated. We've
petabytes
overcome most of that, and so it's now time to proceed. But
Let's go.
As this massive attack illustrates, there's a lot of opposition to people just hearing what President Trump has to say, and but I'm honored to have this conversation. I want to emphasize it's a conversation, and it's really intended to just get a feel for what Donald Trump is just like in a conversation. It's hard to catch a vibe about someone if you just don't hear them talk in a normal way. And when there's an adversarial interview, like no one's themselves in an adversarial interview. So and this is really aimed at kind of open-minded, independent voters who
that's me.
Just trying to make up their mind, so you can understand like what.
Let me know if the audio is too quiet or too loud for you guys.
To have a conversation. So, honored to Donald. Great to speak. We had a great conversation yesterday. As you mentioned yesterday, if we could just record that conversation and post it, it would have been excellent. And I hope we can have something like that today.
Well, I think we will. I'm pretty sure we will. And congratulations, because I see you broke every record in the book with so many millions of people, and it's an honor. We view that as an honor. And then you do want silencing of certain voices. Usually those are voices that have something to say that are constructive, oftentimes constructive. And so we have to consider it an honor. But congratulations on breaking every record in the book tonight. That's great.
Well, thank you. Well, I mean, maybe,
so true.
We could start off with, the assassination attempt, which was an incredible thing. And I have to say that, your actions after that assassination attempt were inspiring.
They really were.
Instead of shying away from things, instead of ducking down, you were pumping your fist in the air and saying, fight, fight, fight. And I think
right? What a hero. What a true leader.
The president of the United States represents America. And I think that is America. That is strength under fire.
That is the pinnacle.
And so that's, a big, part of the reason why I was excited to endorse you as the president of the United States for having another term here. Is that was just incredibly inspiring. But I mean, what was it like for you?
Not pleasant. I have to be honest. There was blood. I had more blood. I didn't know I had that much blood. The doctors later told me that the ear is a place that is
there's a lot
bloody place.
It is.
You're going to get hit. But in this case, it was probably the best alternative you could even think about.
Amen.
Because it went at the right angle, and it was a hard hit. It was very, I guess you would say surreal, but it wasn't surreal. I was telling somebody you have instances like this, or like a lot less than this, where you feel it's a surreal situation, and I never felt that way. I knew immediately that it was a bullet. I knew immediately that it was at the ear.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure
it hit very hard, but hit the ear. And I also heard people shout, bullets, bullets, get down, because I moved down pretty nicely, pretty quickly. And we had bullets flying right over my head after I went down. So I'm glad I went down. The bigger miracle was that I was looking in the exact direction of the shooter. And so it hit me at an angle that was
he barely turned his head.
Far less destructive than any other angle. So that was the miracle. That was for those people that don't believe in God. I think
that's what I said.
Thinking about that, you have to. I'm a believer now. I'm more of a believer. I think.
Me too, man.
People have said that to me. A lot of great people.
The only thing that saved him was God that day. Nothing else.
It
was himself and God.
I happened to be turned just at that perfect angle, and all because I put down a chart on immigration that showed that the numbers were so great. I love that chart even more now.
Maybe it's a sign. Maybe that's a sign.
It's an immigration sign.
You highlighted a serious issue, and at that moment, the bullet missed your, hit your ear, but missed your head. I mean,
the amazing thing is that the sign. I said, bring down that sign on immigration, and it was literally about an eighth of a second where it would be good, and after that it was going to be a disaster, no matter which way you were facing. But it just had that perfect angle, which was exactly at this shooter. Very sad situation. Such a sad situation. As you know, we lost somebody that was great, Corey, who, a firefighter, a great gentleman, a great trumper. He was just a fantastic family and a fantastic man. And a friend of mine came up, Elon, and said, "I'd like to give the family some kind of help." And I said, "All right, that's great." He said, "Do you mind?" I said, "I don't mind at all." And he wrote out a check for $1 million, gave it to the wife. And, you know, she said, "This is really nice, but I'd rather have my husband back," which is a nice thing for somebody to say, to be honest. She's great. The family is great. And we raised a lot of money for them and for two other gentlemen are unbelievable people also. They were hit really badly. They thought they were not going to make it, and they did. The doctors in the Butler area, I tell you, they were incredible. They saved the two, and they were really hit tough, both of them equally. And we thought my first question was, because I heard bullets flying over me, and I said, "How many people were killed?" Because we had a massive crowd there, a tremendous thousands and thousands of people, and there was no land. I mean, it was all people. So I said, "How many people have been killed?" Because I knew there were other shots being fired. And they said, "We don't know yet, but some people have been badly hurt." And I have to give the Secret Service sniper, they call him, or sharpshooter, but sniper, because he didn't know there was a problem. He's an extraordinary shot, obviously, and he didn't know there was a problem. And he was able to pick it all out within 5 seconds. And he used one bullet from very far away, I guess probably about 400
praise him.
yards.
Thank God for him.
The shooter was 130, but he was on the opposite side of the field and the podium.
Thank God for that Secret Service member.
He saw the smoke and the flame from the gun, immediately recognized it, and immediately took a shot. And it was one perfect shot from
one hell of a shot.
Away. And if he didn't do that, Elon, he would have. I mean, if he would have, a lot more people could have been badly hurt and killed. So I have to take my hat off to him, because that's
praise God for the Secret Service member and for Trump.
23 years,
honestly.
And he's never had anything like this, and all of a sudden he has to act, and it's a very tough thing to act and to be shooting somebody. But he saw the gun, saw the smoke, saw the flame from the gun. Very far away. Obviously has very good eyes. He's got very good vision, which I assume you have to have in that particular work. But he took aim very quickly, and they say it was approximately 5 seconds from long range, one bullet. If that didn't happen, because the shooter had a lot of bullets, he had a lot of cartridges up there with him. So
and the fact that he was even able to be on that roof.
He was very competent in taking that shot to stop the attempted assassination. But I mean, there does seem to be some pretty significant failings elsewhere in the system. Like, there's just no way that, like, how on earth does a shooter get on a roof 130 yards away? That seems crazy.
That's a big red flag.
People are wondering how on earth could such a thing happen?
Well,
negligence.
Two ways. There should have been nobody on the roof. There were people, because there were so many tens of thousands of people there. There were people that were seeing him, and there was one woman with a red shirt and Trump all over it, and she's screaming. That guy's got a gun. You saw it.
There's a shooter. He's got a gun.
There's a guy up there with a gun.
I mean, I guess, for my part, and I think probably many members of the public are wondering, how the heck are, basically people wondering by it, pointing out there's a guy on the roof with a gun.
And no one does anything.
And they're seeing it, but somehow
the Secret Service,
it's not being addressed. That does seem crazy.
Well, they're going to learn from
negligence.
The communication between the local police, who sort of had an idea, and then ultimately a man lifted himself up to the roof, could barely do it because he was pulling himself up, and he saw the man with the gun. The man with the gun pointed the gun at him. He thought he was probably going to get shot, but he was like pulling himself up, and because of that, he couldn't get to his gun, and he fell down. Actually, very badly hurt his leg, his ankle. I hear very badly,
Okay.
but he fell down, and he did. From what I understand, he did say there's a guy up there with a gun. And the shooting started very quickly after that. I think it
wild.
It forced the shooter to go maybe quicker. He was supposed to be a very good shot.
Yeah.
My sons.
He was trained by the Secret Service, so you would think so.
Believe what happened, but they said from 130 yards, a bad shot would hit that target almost every time. They said it's like in golf, sinking a 2-foot putt.
Yeah, it's
I would still miss it. I suck at golf.
It's not a long shot.
No,
the Secret Service
it's not bad at all.
person had the long shot. He had triple the distance actually. So it was a terrible thing. Look, it's hard. I have to say this about the Secret Service. When I went down, and I went down based on I think they're screaming, but other people also, because people saw this happen. You had so many people. One of the miracles was that nobody ran. I mean, if a gun goes off, the crowd control people.
Oh, I know.
Showed us this. When guns go off, and it does happen in stadiums at a soccer match or some kind of a match, everybody flees. They call it a stampede, like cattle. But everybody, and a lot of people get killed with those stampedes. We had more people than you'd have at, some of these matches or these games, and
it's so crazy.
Nobody left. You had a small group behind us in the grandstand, and that was full. And you look at it as it was taking place, and normally they'd be running. They didn't leave. They saw that I was hurt. They saw a lot of blood, and they saw that I went down. And it's almost like they wanted to be with me. Well, out front, you had thousands, tens of thousands of people. As far as the eye could see, you had people in Butler, as far as the eye could see. And a lot of press too. There was, many cameras on watching this. It's what makes it so different, because normally things happen that aren't good, but you never have a picture of it. Here we have all these cameras shooting.
I know.
So
all the different angles.
Amazing. But one of the interesting things was that you didn't have anybody flee. You didn't have anybody stampede.
Sure.
Nobody. And there were some people behind me. They stood up and they're looking like, I mean, I'll tell you, you want to have them in a foxhole with you. I want to meet some of those people because it's so different from what you heard. But so I was down. But the Secret Service guys, there were bullets flying right over my head. You could hear them go whizzing, and these guys came jumping on top of me, and a young lady, Kate. They moved so fast, and let me tell you, that took tremendous courage. Now, there was a lack of coordination. There was, obviously everybody understands that that building should have been covered. And
hell yeah,
I mean, I think that, like,
definitely
the aerial views. That building would be like the #1 spot for a sniper. I mean, it's like if you were to pick, like, what is the favorite place? So if the goal is to assassinate, what's your favorite spot? That building.
Yeah, where would you choose to sit to kill the president?
You can ask for a better location.
It's I know.
That would have been the spot. You know what people think is when the local policeman, who, by the way, he really,
it just blows my mind.
He couldn't hold on any longer, and then when he got his head just peeking above, this guy standing there with a gun in his head, and when he fell down, again, hurt his ankle very badly, but he was making the calls. But what happened is the firing took place very soon. So what they think is that this guy ran to his site, which he had all planned out with the gun. He ran to the site and he started shooting fast. And maybe that's why he sort of missed. I mean, he got me, but it could have been a much bigger problem.
But he totally would have hit if you hadn't turned your head. So, like, there was it was a very near thing.
It was a miracle. If I hadn't turned my head,
literally,
I would not be talking to you right now. As
he
much
would
as
be
I
dead.
like you,
exactly.
I would not.
Yeah,
I would not be talking.
Maybe talking to me from another realm, perhaps.
Yeah, that's right. We'd be talking from a different place. But it was a very terrible experience. The Butler Hospital, they did such a great job. The doctors were so good. Everybody was so good. There was a mistake if somebody knew, because people were hearing that, there was just a bad feeling that there was somebody was around. You know that story now. It's been pretty
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
And
yeah.
if somebody could have said, because they've oftentimes said, like there'd be a lightning storm or something. Because I've done, I think over 300. I think I did a lot more than that, but we did a lot. And oftentimes they'll say, "Sir, could you wait 10 minutes, please? Sir, could you wait 20 minutes? There's a storm overhead or lightning or something," right? And
Yeah,
that happens
yeah,
often. And this would have been a perfect time for that to have happened, but it
yeah.
didn't get coordinated. That was the problem.
Well, it was your I think your actions in the heat of fire, and
Heroic.
like what I found admirable there was that you can't fake bravery under such circumstances. The courage is
No.
instinctual or it is not. It's
No,
not
his
a
natural
reflex
instinct
action.
is
And so I
to
just want to say that
be a leader.
I think a lot of people admire your courage under fire there. And
Right.
yeah,
Amen.
so
Thank you
yeah.
very much.
Amen.
I appreciate it. I didn't think of it. I just wanted to get up and I wanted to stand up. I wanted to let people know, I felt I was good when they were on top of me, covering me, actually, very much covering me and very bravely. But I wanted to get up. I said, I want to get up. And they wanted, they have everything there. They wanted stretcher. I didn't like the stretcher. And I knew I was hit in the ear, but I knew I wasn't hit anywhere else. They felt I was hit someplace else
Yeah.
because it was such a lot of blood. And they were sure that I was hit someplace else. And they were saying, "Sir, you were hit in more than the ear." I said, "Nope, I was hit in the ear. I want to get up. Let me get up." And so I got up, and the crowd didn't know what to think. I mean, this was so many people, and you could see they were confused. They didn't know what to think. And I wanted to let them know I was okay. It was very important for me to let them know that. And they went wild. You've seen the after. They didn't go wild when I got up because they didn't know, was I alive? You really couldn't tell. When I stood up before the fist in the air, they didn't know if I was alive. Nobody did.
No, I
And
know. They all just pile on top
when I
of
put
him.
the fist up, they were just relieved and
Oh,
happy.
the whole
and
crowd
thrilled,
just
and, the
started
place went
roaring.
crazy.
Yep.
It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It was
definitely a sight to
terrible thing, but
witness.
It was
really nice.
incredibly moving. Yeah. Well, and I mean, speaking of the sort of slide that got you to turn that saved your life, really, was the illegal immigration slide. Maybe this,
That's right.
maybe this is worth talking about that.
It was.
That slide saved
You're
your
right.
life,
No,
basically.
the
Oh my
illegal
God.
immigration saved my life. You're right, but it was.
Jesus
It had to be at the
God.
exact angle.
I mean, that's a big one. saved by
Oh
the
my
illegal-
God.
The incredible
sad.
thing, though, when you talk about the odds, you had to be exactly at that angle. But the incredible thing is that the chart, I used it less than 20% of the time. It was just a moment.
Yeah.
It's always on my left, never my right, and it's always at the end of the speech. So here
Yeah.
we have it. It's on the right, not the left. It's at the beginning, not the end. And even the people that put it up, they were unprepared, and they did a great job. They got it up immediately, fortunately. But I looked to the right, and the bullet came whizzing by, hitting my ear.
Grazed him. I mean, like, that is
it was
only
amazing.
God.
But when you think of the odds of that, and
Yeah.
you know that normally you wouldn't use it. Normally I wouldn't have the thing, and then it
Yeah.
would have been a very different story. It's very much, I say, an act of God. It's a miracle that it happened, and
Amen.
I'm honored by it.
Amen.
I'm honored by it.
Well, what were you about to say about illegal immigration before you were rudely interrupted? with
Well,
the
I was
bullet?
going to say how good the numbers were. By the way, we're going back to Butler, and we're going to go
Great.
back in October. We're all set up, and the people are fantastic in Butler. It's a
Let me
big,
know if the audio is good or
great
not, guys.
area. Great. These
I
are
appreciate you guys stopping
incredible people. Like the three that, in the case of Corey, killed, and the other two, the families are. I got to know them a little bit, and the families are great. But we're going back to Butler.
Seems to be
And
fun.
I think I'll probably start by saying, as I was saying,
As you
prior
were
to being
saying,
so horribly
so-
interrupted.
yeah.
But
Yeah, so rudely interrupted by an
Yeah.
assassination
Oh.
attempt.
Gosh.
But the chart,
Some people have no manners.
Elon,
I
the
know.
chart
Where are the
was
manners?
just a chart
Seriously.
that in my last week, we had the best illegal immigration numbers, meaning stopping, it was at the lowest. You've seen the chart. It's become quite a famous chart.
Yeah.
But that was the lowest
Yeah.
point ever recorded. It was a really, I mean, I was very proud of those numbers. And then you see what happened with these people, Kamala and Joe. You see what happened. They just let it go. I had remain in Mexico policies.
It's terrible.
I had all these different policies that was so good. Guys like Tom Homan and
they ruined
Brandon Judd from Border Patrol. These are all people that they've been on television. They said it's the best numbers we've ever had. We had so many different checks, catch and release in Mexico, not the United. We had catch and release in the United States. We had it in Mexico. We had so many things. We had
You need it in both
things where if people, many
and he
people
understands
come in
that.
there, they have contagious diseases. We had everything passed. If you have a contagious disease, I'm sorry, but we cannot allow you into the country. So we
No.
were setting literally
by no
records,
means.
and all I was doing is showing that, and I use it sometimes.
Sure.
And in this case, I'm glad I used it. I can tell you that. But they were fantastic numbers. But I'm going to sleep with that chart always. I'll be sleeping with that chart. That chart was.
He's so proud of it.
Was very important.
We got to get back to that chart, guys. We need to get those numbers back up.
Would it be accurate to say that you're supportive of legal immigration, but we obviously need to shut down illegal immigration and especially unvetted illegal immigration? Because,
definitely.
You know, and that's not the same as saying that everyone who's an illegal immigrant is bad. In fact,
no, that's not even close.
I think most people who are illegal immigrants are actually good, but you can't tell the difference unless there's a solid vetting of who comes across the border.
Exactly.
Does that?
We need to have an interview with them to determine whether or not they are good and deserve to be in this country.
They have to be checked.
Yeah.
Not deserve, but
look,
are good enough of people and not drug
now
mules.
She's denying it. Everything that I do, she's saying she was strong on the border. We're going to be strong. Well, she doesn't have to say it. She could close it up right now. They could do things right now.
She's in office right now.
No tax on tips, and all of a sudden she's making a speech and there will be no tax on tips. I said that months ago. And by the way, they had just the opposite. You know, they had not only tax on tips, but they hired 88,000 IRS agents, and many of them were assigned to go get waitresses and caddies and all of this on tips. They have a policy. They had a policy that they were really going to go after you, and were really harassing people horribly. And then all of a sudden, for politics, she says, you know, she comes out with what I said, which I think is terrible. And I think it's also hitting them very hard. These people are fake. Now they're also saying they did a good job on the border. We had the worst numbers in the history of the world, not of our country.
10,000 people a day were flooding into the border.
History that has had a catastrophe like this. We've had, I believe, and I think you believe this too, you know, you hear 12 million, 13. I believe it's over 20 million people came into our country. Many coming
easily
from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions, or a bigger version of that is insane asylums, and many are terrorists. And I'll tell you what, they're coming not just from South America, they're coming from Africa, they're coming from all over the world. They're coming from Asia, they're coming from the Middle East, they're coming from countries
we have no idea who these people are.
Stupidly and horribly bombing Israel October 7th. They're coming from all over the world. And you know, you look at, it's so sad, October 7th, because it should have never happened. It's so sad when you look at Ukraine. It should have never happened. We have a defective government. These are defective people, and they're not people that should be running it. But where you see it the best is the border, because you have millions of people coming in a month, and then she gets up and she tries to pretend like she's going to do something. She had 3.5 years.
She could do something right now.
They have another 5 months.
Exactly.
They can do something, but they won't do anything.
Put it into action then, if you actually care about it.
He's incompetent, and he's incompetent. And frankly, I think that she's more incompetent.
That's what pisses me off.
And that's saying something, because he's not too good.
That's how you know she's an evil person. She's all talk, no do.
A secure border. I mean, you're really not a country unless you have a
we
secure
walks
border.
it like we talks it.
And secure elections, too.
You know,
disgusting.
Yeah, absolutely, secure elections, and so it's just essential to have a real border, or we can't function as a country, and our service, you know, our central services are being overwhelmed in a lot of cities, but as we were talking about earlier, I think having a legal immigration process that is smooth and efficient and done well. And I, speaking as someone who is a legal immigrant, and
Stop it.
I think I mean,
Sorry,
like
guys.
one way to think of it is, who do you want on your team? Who do you want on Team America? And I think we want to just say, okay, we want to let in people who are gonna, be great contributors to our society and to our economy, and and who do you want on the team? And it's not to say that, like in my opinion, actually, I'd say like probably most of the illegal immigrants actually are
great people,
actually good, hardworking people. That's my
I
opinion.
guarantee it.
But some are not.
Totally guarantee it.
And you just have this sort of adverse selection process where, if somebody's, if somebody's like has a career in theft or robbery, I don't understand what's
I don't know if you
taking
can
them
call
so
that a
long to
career.
get here, because we are in such a target-rich environment. I mean, why aren't more people who have a career in, bad things coming here sooner? Because it's a piece of cake to go rob, houses in LA or New
It's
York,
really easy right now
compared to other parts of the world.
Yep.
And in a lot of places in America, if you try to stop the person who's robbing you, and you'll be arrested. So
it's right. I mean, what's happening with crime, and our police are so good, but they're not allowed to do their job. But I have to tell you, Elon, I hate to say it because it's such a downer to say it. I hate to say it. I hate it. But you have a lot of people that just shouldn't be. I think it's a much bigger number than you think. They're allowing, again, they're allowing people from their jails. And if you were running one of these countries where they're coming from, you would have had all of them. As an example, Venezuela, their crime is down 72%. They're taking their drug dealers. They're taking, frankly, their prisoners. They're emptying out their prisons. They're taking
shipping them right to here.
Murderers, their rapists, and they're delivering them into.
But that's what Castro did.
Yeah, well, he did.
On a much Fidel Castro.
Scale,
Exactly.
Much smaller scale. But this is a massive scale because this is being done worldwide. But here's what's happening: crime all over the world is down. And wait till you see the numbers that we have. This is migrant crime. This is crime that's going to be. Yeah. And I saw it today in New York where somebody was knifed with raped the girlfriend of a man that stood there watching in New York in one of the shelters and started pulling out the knives, and bad things happened today. But this is happening every day. These are rough people. These are people that are in jail for murder and all sorts of things. And they're releasing them into our country, and they're telling them, if you come back, we're going to kill you. We're going to give you the death penalty or kill you. So they don't want to come back. But these are rough people. Yeah. These are criminals that make our criminals look like nice people. And it's horrible what they're doing. And she's in charge of it because, now she's trying to say she had nothing to do with it. And she's such a liar because she was called the border czar the first day, and it was on the headlines of every newspaper. She's the border czar, and she never even went there. She went to one location, which had nothing to do with where the problem is. She went in and out, I guess, because she was getting a lot of pressure, but had nothing to do where the problem is. But she was the border czar, and people can't allow them to get away with their disinformation campaign. Now she's trying to say that she wasn't really involved, and the whole thing is horrible. She was totally in charge. She could have shut the border down without him. He didn't know what he was doing anyway, so he wouldn't have even.
No, they call him Sleepy Joe for a reason.
Shut the border down. He wouldn't even know the difference. But the fact is that she was border czar. But if you don't have to call her that, the fact is you could just call her. She was in charge of the border, and the border was the worst ever.
It's simply not working.
No, it's horrible.
Whether it's a question of intention or competence, either way, we don't have a secure border, and we have people streaming over like it looks like a World War Z zombie apocalypse at times. And, sometimes
them climbing over the wall.
Sort of wonder,
that's funny.
Like, is it real?
That's really funny. So, it's real.
You see things, you're like, is it real? So I went to the border at Eagle Pass, and I saw for myself in Texas, and I was like, okay, it's real. I'm like,
it's real.
In real time. I actually posted the video like just live. I just flew there one day and just to see, hey, is this made up or real? And I'm just seeing people stream across the border, And I have to say, you know, at least the people that I saw did not look friendly. You know, so
I doubt it,
people
man.
can look at my video and say, hey, you know, these people look friendly. I don't look super friendly. So
these are people that Elon would
That's
not
not
be the
surprising.
same man if he had to walk across the street and look these people in the eye. These are rough people. These are really rough people coming across. And I know rough people. And these are people that we don't want in our country. And, you know, the caravans are coming in and they're putting, and who's doing this are the heads of the countries. And you would be doing it, and so would I. And everyone would say, oh, what a terrible thing to say. The fact is, it's brilliant for them because they're taking all of their bad people, really bad people. And I hate to say this, the reason the numbers are much bigger than you would think is they're also taking their non-productive people. Now, these aren't people that will kill you. We have enough of them. But these are people that are non-productive. They are just not productive. I mean, for whatever reason, they're not workers or they don't want to work or whatever. And these countries are getting rid of non-productive people in the caravans in many cases. And they're also getting rid of their murderers and their drug dealers and the people that are really brutal people. And they're coming into our country at levels that have never been seen before. And I saw an ad just before I got on the air. I'm walking over here, and I saw an ad by Kamala saying how she is going to provide border security. Where has she been for 3.5 years? For 3.5 years.
Yeah, provide it right now.
20
You
million
have the
people.
opportunity to provide it currently while you're still in office, if you truly mean
I think
that.
this is a fundamental,
But she doesn't.
existential issue for the United States.
They don't care.
And if we have another 4 more years,
Biden's half dead and she's half
and
dumb.
It's going to be even worse with another 4 more years. It's going to be even worse than it's been for the past, 3.5 years. I'm not sure we've got a country.
You don't have a country left.
No.
Elon, if
No, and that's why I keep telling people.
You will have 50 to 60 million people from all over the world, not South America only. You know, we think of South America.
Yeah, not just Mexico. We're literally saying the entire world will flood into our country and ruin it.
Mexico, you know, the four. But it's not that. It's everywhere. They're coming in from everywhere.
All parts of the world.
Yeah, I think this is a super important point. Like people, it's like basically when I went down there, I was like, well, where are people from? It's like almost no one was from Mexico.
No,
I know.
It's just
such a common misconception.
It's just the border with Mexico, but the people coming in, it's Earth. The rest of the Earth, and America is
oh my God,
about 4 or 5% of the population of Earth. It would only take a few percent of the rest of Earth to overwhelm everything.
We're already overwhelmed, Elon. We're overwhelmed. You had to see the news tonight about New York, and I love that place. And what they're doing to it is horrible. What they're doing to it, and all the courts do is they try and focus on Trump. Okay, let's focus on Trump, who did nothing wrong. I complain about a rigged election.
It's disgusting.
Elon, what's happened is unbelievable. You have from Africa. From the Congo, they're coming from the Congo, and 22 people came in from the Congo recently, and they're murderers, and they're dropped. They drop them. They take them out of jails, which is very expensive, to maintain the jails. Although they don't do too much maintaining, I can tell you. But they take them out of jails, prisons. They take them out, and they bring.
It just blows my mind. It really just blows my mind.
They deposit them in the United States and say, "Don't ever come back, or you're going to be executed," and they don't want to come back. But they won't come back.
Sure.
But they're coming from Africa. They're coming from Asia. They're coming from the Middle East. They're coming from South America.
Well,
they're coming from
all
everywhere.
walks of the earth.
And there are a lot of really bad ones.
It's just an everywhere on Earth thing, and it's just not possible for the United States to absorb everyone from Earth or
as much as we would love to,
it's just not
we can't.
Possible. So,
not yet. Not until we get our shit together. Until we solve the world's problems.
The largest deportation in history of this country, and we have no choice. Otherwise, we're going to have a country. What they've done to our country. Think of it.
It's not comfortable.
In Venezuela and in some of these other countries, crime is down 50, 60, 70, 80%. And you would be the same.
Ours are up 50, 60, 70, 80%.
Venezuela has not gotten rid of all of them. They've gotten rid of about 70% of their really bad people. Their jails are about 50% put into the United States. Same with other countries.
It's going to be another El Salvador all over again.
They're all different. But the bottom line is they're all going to be at 100%. Why wouldn't you put 100% of it? And they're doing it right now while this third-rate phony candidate. Don't forget, I beat Biden. He failed in the debate miserably. And, you know, some people
Yeah,
said,
he
"Oh, gee,
lied
it's too bad.
all the
It's too bad he
time.
did so badly," or "I did well in the debate." You know, the first night they said, "Wow." One of the people
Oh, my
at
son
CNN
didn't
said, "That
take
was the
money from
greatest
China
debate
or Russia."
performance I've ever witnessed."
Absolute
And then
liar.
2 days later, they didn't
Multiple
talk about that. They
millions
just said he
Biden's
was
son
bad.
took
But that's okay. That's the way I
from
get
other
treated, and I
countries.
don't mind that at all. What I can tell you is this:
It's kind of people the Bidens
we
are.
cannot have a Democrat. We cannot have her. She's incompetent. She's as bad as Biden.
Drug dealing, money laundering.
He hasn't done an interview since this whole scam started. And say what you want. This was a coup. This was a coup of a president of the United States. He didn't want to leave, and they said we can do it the nice way or we can do it the hard way.
Yeah.
Yep. So they put him on his deathbed and they took his position.
What they did with this guy, and I'm no fan of his, and he was a horrible president, the worst president in history. And one of the reasons he was so bad, first of all, the Israeli attack would have never happened.
Nope.
Russia would never have attacked Ukraine.
Nope.
And we'd have no inflation. And we wouldn't have had the Afghanistan mess, if you think of it.
Well,
and we wouldn't have had Afghanistan.
But Iraq, Iran.
You take a few of those events away, and we have a different world. We would also have
thousands of hundreds of thousands of people alive.
Yeah.
If Trump was in office.
I think you make an excellent point here, which is that when other countries can, that are,
I need to get a better chair. Hold
on. When they're thinking about that, they're thinking about, okay, what's the American president going to do? And do they fear the American president, or is there someone they do not respect and do not fear? And I think they would rightfully be. I mean, look at the footage of the assassination. They're like, okay, President Trump is like, don't mess with me. I mean, that's like, but whereas I think people are not going to be, and they obviously have not been at all intimidated by Biden, and they certainly will not be intimidated by Kamala. And you have to really think of that in the context of global security.
God no.
That's that if the American president is someone that, like, evil dictators are scared of, that makes a huge difference to the security of the world.
So I had a good relationship with
Elon
Putin,
understands.
despite the Russia hoax that lasted for over 2 years. Just a hoax created by Hillary Clinton and Adam Shifty Schiff, some just bad people, just sick people, frankly. I mean, Schiff is a sick person. He's going to end up probably being a senator. It's hard to believe. The whole thing is hard to believe. But
disgusting.
They put our country in danger with that stuff, too. They actually, when they make up stories, and you have to fight your way out of it for a long time. But I know Putin very well. I got along with him very well. He respected me, and it's just one of those things. And we would talk a lot.
Yeah, Russia and Ukraine would not be at war.
It was the apple of his eye. But I said, don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. I shut down Nord Stream 2. That was the big oil pipeline, the biggest pipeline in the world, going all over Europe. I shut it down.
It's a good threat.
Biden came, and then they say, I loved Russia. I was a friend of Putin, and I loved Russia. No, he actually said to me one time, he said, if you're my friend, I'd hate to see you as an enemy. I shut down his pipeline, the biggest pipeline. They were looking at that to fund, and this pathetic president gets in there. And the first thing he did, one of the early things he did, is he shut down Keystone XL pipeline, which is our pipeline that would have employed 48,000 people, pipeline workers.
That shit didn't make sense to me at all.
That was, a massive job that Obama refused to allow.
Yeah.
I allowed it in my first week because it was jobs and it moved oil. And by the way, in a much more environmentally
moved money
way, underground
into the country.
A truck that catches on fire or a train that catches on fire. But think of it. He shut down the XL pipeline, the Keystone XL pipeline.
Yeah.
He shuts that down, and he approves the Russian pipeline.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It's literally ass backwards.
Certainly.
Could not be any more backwards than that.
I think it's just worth emphasizing, to listeners, the immense importance of whether the United States president is intimidating or not intimidating, and how much that matters to global security. Because
I've said that multiple
real
times.
Tough characters out there, and if they don't think the American president is tough, they will do what they want to do.
I know
they'll just walk all over us.
It puts the whole world in danger.
Elon, I know every one of them.
Literally.
Well, I know Putin. I know President Xi. I know Kim Jong-un of North Korea. I know every one of them.
Oh, this is triggering.
People will say, "Oh, this is terrible." He said, I'm not saying anything good or bad. They're at the top of their game. They're tough. They're smart. They're vicious. And
All
they're
of
going
them.
to protect their country.
All
Whether
the world
they love
leaders.
their country, they probably do.
And
It's
now you're
just
going
a
to
different
have
form of
Kamala
love, but
Harris
they're
come
gonna
in and
protect their
fucking
country.
put
But
rainbows and
these are
unicorns
tough people
around.
at the top of their game.
Yeah,
And when
they'll
they
look real
see
menacing.
Kamala or when they see Biden, Sleepy Joe, they can't even believe it. They can't believe this happened.
Yeah, I mean,
All
you
the
could
stuff
sucker
that
punch
you're
them
seeing
and
now,
knock
all
them
the
out,
horror that
and now you
look
have
at
control of the whole
Israel.
country.
They're all waiting for
You
an
ain't doing that to
attack
Trump.
from Iran. Iran would not be attacking, believe me. You know, when I was there, and I say it with respect because I think we would have been good with Iran. I don't want to do anything bad to Iran, but they knew not to mess around. Iran was broke because I told China, if you buy from Iran oil, it's all about the oil. That's where the money is.
We're breaking
But if you
ties.
buy oil from Iran, you're not going to do any business
No.
with the United States.
No, you threaten them.
And I meant it.
That's how
And
you
they said, we'll
make a
pass it.
difference.
They didn't buy oil.
That's how you put them in their
countries
place.
Likewise, you want to buy.
They can't
you're not
work
doing
without the
business
United
with
States.
And they were at a point
Especially
where
China.
They had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for any of these instruments of terror. And it was amazing. In fact, there were articles when I was leaving, which is hard to believe, actually, especially when you look at what's happened to our country. Our country is so bad right now. It's such a different place.
It's terrible.
We were respected.
I can't go to the grocery store with a $100 bill and buy anything.
To a point where when I said don't buy oil, they didn't buy oil. But they had no money, and Israel would have never been attacked. It is zero chance.
That's
and
a
again,
guarantee.
I said to Vladimir Putin, I say, don't do
Like,
it.
there's zero
You
question
can't
about
do it,
that at
Vladimir.
all.
You do it, it's going to be a bad day. You cannot do it. And I told him things that what I do, and he said, no way. And I said, way. And you know, it's the last time we ever had the conversation.
Oh my God.
He would never have done. I got along well with him. I hope to get along well with him again. You know, getting along well with them is a good thing, not a bad thing. I got along well with Kim Jong-un. When I met with President Obama just before entering,
Kamala supporters will say that's a terrible thing, but they're dumb.
I sat down with him and we talked. It was supposed to be for a very short period of time. It turned out to be a long period of time. I said, what's the biggest problem? He said, North Korea. I had that problem worked out very quickly. It was nasty at the beginning with Rocket Man and, you know, all the different things.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden I got a call.
Those were some epic tweets, by the way.
Yeah, they were. No, they were epic everything.
Amazing.
He said that he has a red button on his desk. I said,
I got a red button too.
Button on my desk too, but my red button is much bigger, and my red button works. And then I called him Little Rocket Man, Little Rocket Man. Anyway, here's the bottom line. All of a sudden I got a call.
That's so funny.
And they said they want to meet. They want to meet me. And we met, as you remember, we met in Singapore. We met also in Vietnam. And I got along with them great. We were in no danger. But President Obama thought we were going to end up in a war, a nuclear war with him. And let me tell you, he's got a lot of nuclear stuff, too.
Exactly.
He's got plenty of nuclear. He can do plenty of damage.
And that's scary. Yeah, and that's why you need to be friends with him.
I mean, people like Kim Jong-un, they respond to strength, not weakness.
Well,
and
he and I had a good relationship. Remember I met him and we walked onto his land. Nobody ever walked onto his land before. I walked onto. I wouldn't say. Let's bring up Secret Service again. I wouldn't say they were thrilled when I did that. I walked onto his land, and it was an amazing period. But we were not in danger with him because of me. You know, I always say that we have enemies on the outside and we have enemies on the inside. We have some really bad people in our government.
Yeah.
And people.
It's the enemies on the inside I have a problem with.
Of the people. I mean, I'd mention names.
Enemies on the outside, one conversation, and it's done.
Really bad,
they're not enemies anymore.
They're more dangerous than Russia and China.
Big time.
If you have a smart president, a president that gets it, we are not in danger from those countries because they need us and they need our help. I mean, we
have to work together.
If you think about it, Obama and Biden, and Bush to a certain extent, in all fairness, forced Russia and China together. And if you're a history student, the first thing you learn is you cannot let Russia and China align. But then they also got, if you take a look,
as long as they're on our side too,
and they have North Korea. That's, you know, they call it the axis of evil. In the old days, you had the axis of evil. Here we have a modern day axis of evil. These are powerful countries, very heavy nuclear. which is the biggest threat.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest threat is not global warming, where the ocean's going to rise one
No,
eighth of an inch over the
that's
next 400
thousands
years.
of years in the future.
You'll have more oceanfront property, right?
Yeah, I'm not worried about
that. The
that.
biggest threat is not that. The biggest threat is nuclear warming. Because we have 5 countries now
That's
that have
terrifying.
significant nuclear
That
power.
is terrifying.
And we have to not allow anything to happen with stupid people like Biden. You know, Biden did something with Russia. There was no chance of him ever going in. And when I left, and then after I left, they started forming big armies on the border with Ukraine, right? And I looked at that, and I thought he was doing that because Putin's a good negotiator. I thought he was doing that to negotiate. But then Biden started saying such stupid things. For instance, he said that it can be a NATO country. Now, Russia, for as long as there's been NATO, has said we're never going to agree to that. And we go right up front and say that. And we did things and said things through this president with a low IQ, very low IQ. He had a low IQ 30 years ago, by the way, but now he might not even have a IQ at all. There's nothing on the board.
Yeah, I was going to say.
He said
he could be
things
dead.
that were so stupid that war had zero chance of happening if I were there. Zero chance. He was saying everything the opposite. Everything the opposite. And it's so sad because many more people have been killed in Ukraine than you read about. You don't read about how bloody it is and how disastrous.
And it's still going
just in the 2 armies,
every day.
They lost 500,000 people. And you know, Ukraine's having a hard time. Ukraine, I don't know if you saw.
It's so sad. None of the people that are in that war want to kill each other.
But if you think
it's only the people in charge.
Russia's gone. You know, Russia defeated Germany.
It's so sad.
And they defeated Napoleon. You know, they've been around a long time. They're a big fighting force.
Yeah, sure.
And it's very unfair. And Ukraine now doesn't have enough men. They're now using young men and very old men to fight. And we're in a very bad position. And I'm not going to blame exclusively, but I can tell you I could have stopped that. And a smart president
it would have never happened. He didn't have to stop it. Exactly.
But we had a man that actually made it. It made it more prevalent. It was so bad. The words that he was using, the stupid threats coming from a stupid face that he was using. I said, this guy's going to cause us a war. He's going to cause. And let me tell you, it can lead to World War III. That can lead to World War III. The Middle East.
Putin said it himself.
We have numerous places that could end up in a World War III right now for no reason whatsoever.
No, I think you're right. I think people underrate the risk of World War III. And it's just
it's going to happen. Give it a month of Kamala being in office, and we'll all be dead. I promise you.
And you know
it's scary times right now.
I think after the end of the Cold War, people have become complacent about, but they actually have forgotten that there are currently
not the young generation, at least, or not me. I don't know about the rest of my generation.
The United States from other countries.
And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to build an Iron Dome over us. You know, Israel has it.
He said that on his last big interview.
We need it, and we're going to make it all in the United States. But
it's so scary.
We're going to have protection because it just takes one maniac to, start something. We're going to have protection, and we're going to have. Why shouldn't we have an Iron Dome? Israel has one.
I know we funded Israel's. We paid for it.
Nobody even knows about, frankly.
Why are we not the protected ones?
Israel has it. We're going to have an Iron Dome. But with all of that being said, to me that's so important, the most important. But with all of that being said,
so scary and sad.
The election's coming up, and the people want to hear about the economy and the fact that they can't buy groceries because they don't have enough money to buy groceries. The inflation has killed them. Food prices are up 50, 60, even 100%.
Trust me, I'm becoming broke. I'm losing all my cash to groceries.
Allowed this to happen, and it's a shame.
It's at least like $300 every time I go.
People most care about, in my opinion, they care about the border a lot. And we discussed the border at great length. It's nice to have a forum like this where I can discuss something at length. And by the way, do you think Biden could do this interview? Do you think that Kamala could do this interview? They would take a pass on you.
No, they could not.
So they don't need Elon. They don't need Elon screaming out questions.
I love Elon.
It's pretty sad when you think that somebody that does this for a living can't answer a question or is afraid to do an interview. And in her case, with a very friendly interview, she's got all friendly interviewers. It's pretty sad.
Absolutely.
But the big thing now is the economy, Elon. And as much as I mean, I view nuclear as the single most important thing, but a lot of people don't understand that. But it doesn't have to. If I understand it, that's all you need, because if I was president, you're not going to have that kind of a problem. But the thing that they really is making them angry is what Kamala and Biden have allowed to happen to the economy. It's a disaster with inflation. The inflation, it doesn't matter what you make. The inflation is eating you alive. If you're a worker or if you're just a middle income person, you can't afford. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, people were saving a lot of money. Today, they're using all their money and borrowing money just to live. It's a horrible thing that's happening, and we'll end that quickly.
Well, I think a lot of a lot of people just don't understand where inflation comes from. Inflation comes from government overspending because the checks never bounce when it's written by the government.
I don't know how people don't understand that concept. I've gotten too many comments about that.
That increases the money supply, and if the money supply increases faster than the rate of goods and services, that's inflation. So really, we need to have we need to reduce our government spending, and we need to re-examine. I think we need like a government efficiency commission to say like, hey, where are we spending money that's sensible? Where is it not sensible? And we need to live within our means. We're currently adding, I think, $1 trillion to the deficit roughly every 100 days.
That's right.
And the interest payments on the national debt
he's got to be wrong. That does not seem right.
It's on the order of
$1 trillion, 100 days.
It keeps growing.
I rebuilt our military largely.
Oh my God! I did not know that. I didn't know it was that high.
We had jets. We had fighters that were and bombers that were 70 years old. And we did a great job in that. Then we gave 85 billion of it back to Afghanistan, if you can believe it. We gave them 85 billion. They're one of the largest sellers of military equipment in the world. They're selling what we gave them. That was one of the most embarrassing days in the history of our country. But if you think about, let's go back to the economy. We have to bring energy prices down. Energy started at the price of gasoline. Now, your cars don't require too much gasoline, so you have a good, and you do make a great product. I have to say, I have to be honest with you. That doesn't mean everybody should have an electric car.
No,
but these are minor details. But your product is incredible. But the
infrastructure doesn't support that many people.
The cost of energy, not only gasoline, it's the cost of heating your house and cooling your house. That has to come down. It's gone up 100%, 150, and 200%, and that has to come down. When that comes down, and we're going to drill, baby, drill. They stopped drilling, and then they went back to drilling because they went back to the Trump policy. But if they won the day after they get into office, this country will go out of business because they're going to go to an energy policy that's not sustainable. Wind and different things. You're not going to have anything. And I know you're a big fan of the AI, and I have to say that AI, and this is shocking to me, but AI requires twice the energy that the country already produces for everything. So
it's a crazy amount.
We're going to have to
the
build
highest energy consumption than anything else on this planet.
Will be competitive with
by
China,
strides.
because that's our primary competitor.
I'm very familiar with that.
On the AI, you're going to need a lot of electricity. You're going to need tremendous electricity, like almost double what we produce now for the whole country, if you can believe it.
Sure. Well, just going, back to this, like this basic thing, that people try to make it sound complicated, but it's not. But inflation is caused by government overspending. Would you agree that we need to take a look at government spending and have perhaps
that's an obvious
government
yes.
efficiency commission?
That's a duh yes.
Just tries to make the spending sensible, and so the country lives within its means, just like a person.
The waste is incredible, and nobody negotiates prices. You used to have a lot of people making jets, and you end up with two companies, and they'll probably try and merge at some point. I went through it, like Air Force, just a thing like Air Force One. One of the first documents they asked me to sign, a general said, "Sir, would you please sign this document?" And what is it? Air Force One. That's with Boeing, which is basically two planes, 747.
God, Boeing is in the fucking shitter right now.
$5.7 billion for two planes. Now they're highly sophisticated. They're even nicer than your plane, okay? But much more sophisticated. They're very. I won't say what's on it, but they got a lot of stuff on it. Anyway, but it's 5.7.
That's a crazy
It's
number.
a crazy number, but I said, I'm not going to pay 5.7. I'm not going
Hell
to do it.
no.
I said, who made the deal? Obama and his people.
Oh,
I
of
said, well,
course.
then I know the deal's no good. I'm not going to do it. And over a course of about 4 weeks, by my saying I'm not going to
Oh
do
my
it,
God.
I got the price reduced by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane, other than we had a nicer paint job, if you want to know the truth. But for the exact same plane, I
That is
saved one. And I said to
ridiculous.
Boeing, man, you guys must make a lot of money if you can reduce the price by that. But now what I do hear is that they're going back to the Biden administration and wanting big cost overruns, because they see these dopey suckers in there and they'll end up getting some of the money back. But I shaved it by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane. And you can now take that and multiply that out times thousands of other
Exactly.
items. And
Multiply it by
yeah,
a
the
zillion,
numbers are
and yeah.
astronomical. I agree with you.
Well, I mean, I think it would be great to just have a government efficiency commission that takes a look at these things and just ensures that the taxpayer money, the taxpayers' hard-earned money, is spent in a good way. I'd be happy to help out on such a commission
I'd love
if
it.
it were formed.
Well, you're the greatest cutter. I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, "You want to quit?" They go on
Yeah.
strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike, and you say, "That's okay. You're all gone. You're all gone." So every one of you is gone, and you are the greatest. You would be very good. Oh, you would love it. But if you look at Argentina.
Well, I'd be happy to
Yeah, by
help
the way,
out.
congratulations. I
Yeah.
just looked at the number of people that are listening to you and I chat. We'll call it a chat. But
Yeah.
congratulations. This is very good. I mean, it's great. And you're an interesting character. The new head of a place called Argentina, and he's a big,
Malay's awesome.
he's great. And
Yeah.
he's a big MAGA fan, that he ran on MAGA. And he took it to an extreme too. He ran on MAGA, and I hear he's doing really a terrific job. It's called Make Argentina Great Again. It worked out perfectly. He came in, he bought a lot of hats, he brought everything, but he's doing a big job. He really cut. And I'm hearing
Yeah.
they're starting to do pretty well. Inflation's getting down. They had like
Yes, exactly.
2,000%.
That's
They
great.
had inflation
Everyone else is
like
doing great, minus
like
the United
not normal
States.
inflation. They had the real deal. But we're going to
Yeah.
have that pretty soon. I think we
Yeah.
have the worst inflation we've had in 100 years. They say
Oh,
it's 48 years. I don't believe it.
no,
I
I
think
don't
we have
believe
the
that
worst.
either. I saw
They
a
don't
chart,
include a lot of the items that
and
should
yeah,
be included.
exactly. Yeah, you need to look at the whole spectrum
Well,
of everything, not just, what they're showing
from
you.
government overspending and not spending taxpayer money
Yeah.
effectively, and having just like so many departments you can't even name them all. And what Milei is doing is he's cutting government spending. He's simplifying things. He's putting in regulations that make sense, and we're Argentina overnight is experiencing a giant improvement
That's
in
right.
prosperity. But it's also a lesson for the United
You gotta
States,
wonder
which
why.
is that Argentina used to be one of the most prosperous countries in the world. Um,
Right.
in the like in the 30s, 40s, and because of bad government policy, it ruined the country. And if you take Venezuela, for example, Venezuela should be incredibly prosperous. They have phenomenal reserves of everything, oil, everything, and it should be prosperous. But if the government's wrong, it impoverishes the people. And
Yeah, it
so
doesn't
I think we
work.
should not be complacent in the United States and thinking that and taking our prosperity for granted, because if with bad government policy we can run the country into the ground, and that's just something people should bear in mind. Don't take prosperity for granted.
Well, think
Yep,
of education. So we're ranked at the
exactly.
bottom of every list of the top 40. We're
Yeah, we
ranked
used to
number
be at like
40, number
20.
38.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
Norway,
Sweden,
Switzerland, Sweden, different countries are ranked good.
like
Actually,
4 or
China's
5.
pretty close to the top. They're in
They're way
top
better than
6 or 7.
us. We need to change
But
our
we're
school
ranked at the
system for
bottom,
sure.
almost at the bottom, 38, 39, 40. In other words,
Yep.
horrible. And yet we spend more per pupil than any other country in the world. So we spend more.
It has nothing
And
to do with
what I'm
that.
going to do, one of the first acts, and this is where I need an Elon Musk. I need somebody that has a lot of strength and
Knowledge.
courage and smarts. I want to close up Department of Education, move education back to the states, where
Yeah.
where states like Iowa, where states like Idaho, not every state will do great, because states that
No,
basically
you have to
aren't doing
figure it
good
out.
now. You look at
You're finding the happy medium
Gavin
between it
Newsom,
all.
the governor of California. He's terrible. He does a terrible job. So he's not going to do great with education. But of the 50, I would bet that 35 would do great, and 15 of them,
I probably agree with that. If not a little bit more,
20 of
maybe.
them
Who
will be as
knows?
good as Norway. Norway's considered great. You can
Yeah,
name
Norway's
them. I mean,
like
it's just
banging.
they're so good. Some of these countries are so good. But if you go into
Norway
some
and
of
Sweden
these
I think are
really
the top
well-run
two.
states, we have states that don't know what debt is. We have states that have low taxes, no debt, everybody working. They're really well run.
Sure.
And maybe they have certain advantages in terms of location, in terms of the land or the sun and the water and the whole thing. There are a lot of advantages that some people have. But if you
What's going
move
on,
education back to
sucker?
the 50,
I'm
you'll
not
have
saying your
some that
first
won't
name.
do well, but they'll actually be forced to do better because it'll be a pretty bad situation. But if you think about it, you'll have some of these states. I'll bet you'd have 30, 35 states. It'll be much better. And you know what it'll cost? Less than half what it is in Washington. And these people don't care about the students in these, faraway states. And it'd be unbelievable.
Yeah. I think you're making a good point in that if the states have to if each state has to compete against other states, then people
You
will
tell me,
naturally
man.
move to states where it's better.
Well, like California, as we said, it's a badly run state. I could
Hey,
go
man, you
through.
said it
I
for
got
me.
so many friends that are in those states, even if they're Democrats. I hate to mention certain states, but Illinois is badly run with Pritzker. He's a real loser. But some of these places are just badly run. But it's almost going to force them to run better, and they won't do a good at initially.
Yeah, that's the idea. Is you got to force them to run
You're
better.
not going to do worse.
You can't
than
give
you're
them a
doing right
choice.
now. And I would say that the cost, you would cut your cost by 50 or 60%. And you'd have a little monitor. You want to make sure they're teaching English as an example. Give us a little English, right?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, there's plenty of us that don't.
I mean, some of these governors,
Which really isn't the worst thing,
are doing so
but
badly. I mean, they got so many people.
you got to know
moving
at
out
least
of
the
their
basics.
state, they should get U-Haul Salesman of the Year award because they're driving so much U-Haul.
It's actually amazing.
It's just people moving out.
Isn't it amazing to you as a businessman that they can even survive? Like Illinois, so many people are leaving, and you wonder, how do they survive? I mean, how do they survive?
They're not going to for much longer.
I saw where you left
Sadly.
California, and you moved to Texas. Texas does a great job.
Yeah, Texas is
I mean, I just
by
wonder,
far the best
how
state.
do these states survive when big businesses,
Always
a big
have and
oil
always will
company
be.
just left California, as you know, and they moved to Texas. How do these big states survive when they lose so many businesses and their taxes are already really high? Their taxes are among the highest taxes. You almost wonder, how do they continue on? And in many cases, the governors don't do a good job in their crime-ridden places. You wonder, how do they continue to just go on? It's not a good situation.
I mean, I think the only thing that's going to force some of these states to change is if they risk bankruptcy and they're not getting bailed out by the federal government.
Right. Well,
That's
you're
the
going to
only thing
have
that's going to
that.
get them to change.
You remember the area
Yeah,
in California
legit.
where they had that, where I guess somebody had sticky fingers and they stole a lot of money, and they went into a form of chapter.
Oh my God.
And it was very nasty
Yeah.
for a period of time, but now it's probably the most popular place in all of California. So at some point, something like that may have to happen. But the problem is, you can't penalize people that loan money to the state when you have incompetent people like a Pritzker. Look, the family didn't want him in the family business, and then he ends up being governor of Illinois. So what is he going to be? Is he going to be a great governor? And you have people. I could name every one of them. I got to know every one of them.
I'm sure he's got a
some
whole
are very
list.
good, and some are just horrible.
Yeah, I'm sure he's got the whole list already written out.
Well, I think that
ready
the larger
to
point here,
put into
too,
action when he gets
as
into
you're saying, is
office.
that, a lot of people are concerned about the economy. A lot of people are concerned about inflation, and inflation is effectively a tax on people that save money, and for people that are working day to day, it's just a form of taxation. And if we can solve the government spending problem, we'll solve the inflation problem, which means people will have a better standard of living, and that's a really big deal.
Well, the people that got hurt worst are the people that did it the way they were taught to do it all through, their younger life and their young life and their whole life. The people that saved money and then they got no interest on their money, and inflation destroyed them. And frankly, they were almost better off if they didn't do anything like that. I mean, those people have been absolutely decimated, and we're going to bring those people back and help those people. We've got to get the prices down. You know, when I look at bacon costing 4 or 5 times more than it did a few years ago.
Don't even get me started.
When you look at
Don't
some of
even
the
get me
food
started, bro.
products in
I can't even buy
grocery stores,
bacon
people go,
anymore.
they can't believe it. They used to be able
Not
to
in my
buy
budget.
a whole cart, and today, you know, a lot of people just don't have the money. They go in and they can't buy anything. They look at
that's me.
It's
Legit.
sticker shock.
think
They call it sticker shock, right?
I think it really just comes, like I said, I think it just comes down to really, I guess, two things, which is that if you solve government overspending, you solve inflation, which improves living standards of the average person.
Yeah, if we weren't $1 trillion in debt,
if you
40 trillion or whatever it is,
like have sensible regulations. So because a lot of the regulations are nonsensical and cause the cost to be extreme for no reason. But unless you've
35.12 trillion,
like Reagan did a great job on deregulation in the 80s, but it's been 40 years since we had anyone really. I mean, during your administration, we made some progress, but I think there's an opportunity to make, I think, radical progress with sensible regulation.
Elon,
those two things, those are the big deals.
We set a record. We did more deregulation and more restrictions on all of the different businesses than any other president. Remember, I had the rule for everyone we put in, you have to get rid of 10 or 12. And we did radical cuts on all of that. And a lot of that's being put back by this administration. And we did radical cuts on things that weren't necessary. But we were all set. You know, we had the best economy ever maybe in the world. And then what happened is COVID came in, and we had to focus on that, and nobody knew what it was. And I always say,
I feel bad for Trump because he had to deal with COVID, and that's really the negative thing that people look at. Then and abortion are the two things that they really hate Elon for.
The credit
or
that
not
we
Elon,
really
Trump.
deserved on what we did with COVID. We never got the credit. But had that not happened, a gift from China, from Wuhan, came in from Wuhan, the Wuhan labs, and I always said it, and it turned out to be right. But had that not,
we knew it from the beginning.
Had that not happened, we were set to start reducing debt. We were going to reduce taxes further. I gave the largest tax cuts, and we were going to reduce taxes still further for middle-income people, not only businesses. But we did it for businesses because they're the ones that's why we had the great job numbers. But we were set to really start reducing debt. And, you know, we're sitting on the biggest pile of liquid gold anywhere in the world, bigger than
we're doing nothing with
bigger
it.
Than Russia. And we were going to drill, and we were going to make so much money. We were going to
supply
Europe with oil.
Drill.
I had stopped the Russian pipeline, and we were going to supply them with oil and gas. We were going to
That's how you make money.
And then the COVID came in, and we really had to divert. Then what happened is when they came in, you know, we kept a lot of businesses alive. If I didn't do what we did, we would have had a 1929 type depression. But the problem is when Biden came in, he got trillions of dollars and just started spending it stupidly. You didn't need it anymore. You know, we got over that bad period where everybody was dying and feeling, you know, it was just not a good period. Interestingly, you know, during his administration, many more people died during his administration of COVID than during my administration, and we really got the brunt of it. But people don't realize more people died during his administration than ours. But it diverted us from doing what I wanted to do. But we had the greatest for, you know, almost 3 years. We had the great, and you know that probably better than anybody. So many of your friends said to me, the best years we've ever had in business were during the Trump years. And also said that African American, Hispanic American were so incredible. They were having the best. Asian American women, men, young people without a diploma, young people that graduated from the best colleges, from MIT, from the Wharton School, from all of the great colleges, Harvard. They were doing better, and people without a diploma were doing better. And everybody was happy.
Like me, I guess.
Then COVID came, and we
I make more than 70% of the whole United States.
Trillions of dollars they wasted. They shouldn't have taken any money, and we wouldn't
still
be
broke.
having inflation right now, which is killing our country.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I should probably say something about like, maybe my views on, climate change and oil and gas, because I think I'm probably different from what most people would assume. Because my views are actually pretty, I think, moderate in this regard, which is that I don't think we should vilify the oil and gas industry and the people that have worked very hard in those industries to provide the necessary energy to support the economy. And if we were to stop using oil and gas right now, we would all be starving, and the economy would collapse.
We would have no
So
electricity,
it's
and
I don't think it's right to
nothing would
sort of
work.
vilify the oil and gas industry. And I the world has a certain demand for oil and gas, and it's probably better if the United States provides that than some other countries.
Yeah.
And it would help with prosperity in the U.S. And at the same time, obviously, my view is like we do over time want to move to a sustainable energy economy, because eventually you do run out of. I mean, you run out of oil and gas. It's not there for. It's not infinite. And there is some risk. I think the risk is not as high as a lot of people say it is with respect to global warming. But I think if you just keep increasing the parts per million in the atmosphere long enough, eventually it actually simply gets uncomfortable to breathe. People don't realize this. If you go past 1,000 parts per million of CO2, you start getting headaches and nausea.
Yeah.
And so we're now in the sort of 400 range. We're adding,
It's finding
I think,
a happy
about
medium between it all,
roughly 2
until you can
parts per
fully
million
move
per
over.
year.
Once it actually
So
becomes
I mean, it still gives us
more efficient.
So what it means is like we still have quite a bit of time, but so there's not like we don't need to rush, and we don't need to
No.
stop farmers from farming, or
We got to
prevent
stop people
having
from
steaks. Or
Yeah, exactly. We
basic
got to
stuff like
stop the
that. Like,
cow.
leave the farmers alone.
I agree.
I know.
How crazy is that?
I know.
Where,
Let's
I mean,
not even
you have
close to
farmers that
any
are
kind
not
of
allowed
discussion.
to farm anymore and have to get rid of their
It's
cattle.
disgusting.
And the whole world
It's such
is
a dumb
crazy,
argument.
but it's largely taken its lead from us. I do say, though, I've heard in terms of the fossil fuel, because even to create your electric car and create the electricity needed for the electric car, fossil fuel is what really creates that at the generating plants. And, so you sort of can't get away from it at this moment. I mean, someday you might be able to, but I do hear we have anywhere from 100 to 500 years left. Much of it hasn't even been found yet.
Yeah.
But there are tremendous, like Anwar. I got Anwar in Alaska approved. Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. Nobody could do it. Everybody tried. Nobody could do it. I got it approved. The first thing that Biden did was unimprove it to get rid of it. He ended it. His secretary went in and she ended it. And what a disgrace. That's Anwar. That's bigger, or they think it could be bigger than Saudi Arabia in Alaska. Could be bigger than Saudi Arabia. But they went in and they terminated it. And I'll get it going very quickly, because not only is it big for Alaska, I mean, you talk about economic development, that for the United States, I mean, that is, they say bigger than Saudi Arabia or the same size, and pure, really good stuff. And, they ended. So I think we have,
good shit,
perhaps hundreds of years left. Nobody really knows. But during that time, something will come around that will be very good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my estimate would be, a little more aggressive than that, but it's not the sort of like we're all going to die in 5 years stuff. That's obviously BS.
Yeah.
But I mean, my view is like if you just look at sort of the parts per million that increments every year, you get sort of 2 or 3 parts per million every year of CO2. I mean, I think some of that it's problematic if it accelerates, if you start going from 2 or 3 to say 5, and then there may be some.
That's when you know you need to make a difference.
You get just a step change increase in the CO2, and I think we don't want to get too close to 1,000 ppm, because like that's actually makes it uncomfortable to breathe. Like just existing in 1,000 ppm CO2 is uncomfortable. That's like that's considered like an industrial hazard.
Right.
Just so.
Yeah. No. Clearly you can't have that.
That's actually, you start getting headaches and stuff. So it's even without global warming, it's not comfortable to live in. So you don't want to get too close to that. But I mean, I think we've got. I think we want to just move over, and if I don't know, 50 to 100 years from now, we're I don't know, mostly sustainable, I think that'll probably be okay. So it's not like the house is on fire immediately, but I think it is something we need to move towards. And on on balance, it's probably better to move there faster than slower. But like I said, without vilifying the oil and gas industry, and without causing hardship in the short term, I think this can be done. Um, without people can still have a stake, and they can still
I sure hope
drive
so.
gasoline cars, and
I don't want to not
it's
stop
okay.
eating meat.
It's like it's not.
That's all I
I don't
eat.
think we should vilify people for it, but I think we should just generally lean in the direction of sustainability. And I actually think solar is going to be a majority of Earth's energy generation in the future, and it's certainly trending that way. And so you get the solar power, combine that with batteries, so because obviously the sun doesn't shine at night, and then you use that to charge the electric cars, and you have a long-term sustainable solution. And that's what Tesla's trying to move things towards, and I think we've made a lot of progress in that regard. But when you look at our cars, we
I
don't
think
believe
the highest at anyone, clearly.
environmentalism, that caring about the
I
environment
think that's a pretty
should
obvious
mean that
statement to
you have
make.
suffer. So we make sure that our cars are beautiful, that they drive well, that they're fast, they're sexy. I mean, they're cool. In fact, literally,
they are
the
sexy.
joke, Model S.
The
Model 3,
Cybertruck's a
Model
little
X, and
weird
Y
looking,
spells out
but
sexy. It's probably the most expensive
I'm sure some
joke
people
out
think
there.
it's sexy.
But
Someone's got a taste for it.
Cheesy humor, So, but I'm a big fan of, like, let's have an inspiring future, and let's work towards a better future, and we do so without demonizing
Right.
people.
Exactly.
I'm okay. It's
Exactly.
very interesting. You use the word global warming, and today they use the word climate change because you have some places that go
Elon
up
Musk and I are like two peas in a pod, I swear.
Themselves in a little trouble with the word
So much more in
global warming,
common than I
'cause
think
not
we
every
do.
place is warming. Some places are going the opposite direction. But I'm sort of waiting for you to come up with solar panels on the roofs of your cars and on the trunks of the cars, and it just seems like something that at
the whole
some
car
point
may
you
have a
will
solar
come up
panel.
with. I'm sure
He will.
you'll be the first.
He's already
But it
got
would seem that a
roof
solar
tiles.
panel on the roofs, on flat surfaces, on certain surfaces might be good.
Yeah.
The
At least in
roads,
certain
all
areas
roads
of the
being
country
made
where
out
you
of
have
it, that'd be
or the
insane.
world
Sure.
where you have the sun. But I would think, and I have no idea because that's not my world, but I would think that this would be something that would be interesting. But the one thing that I don't understand is that people talk about global warming or they talk about climate change, but they never talk about nuclear warming. And to me, that's an immediate problem.
That's the only thing I'm worried about.
You have, as
World
I
War
said,
III.
5 countries
That's it.
where you have major
It's the only thing that
nuclear,
matters right now.
and,
Nothing else.
Probably some others are getting there, and that's very dangerous. That's where you need a strong American president because you don't want to have this proliferation. But you have 5 countries and getting more. China is much less than us right now, but they're going to catch us sooner than people think. They're way lower. Russia and us are number 1, and I mean, we're sort of tied. And China is far behind,
really?
but they're developing at a level that you're not surprised.
Wow,
to hear.
I actually wouldn't have guessed that.
They'll end up catching up, maybe even surpassing. But to me, the biggest problem is not climate change. It's not, and everything's a problem, but it's degrees. To me, the big problem is the nuclear power. The power of nuclear is so great.
It's
and
dangerous,
when I talk
though.
about I'll prevent world, I'll
awesome.
prevent World
It is
War
underrated,
III,
but
I will. But the truth is
extremely
that
dangerous.
you have to, because this is no longer army tanks going back and forth and shooting at each other. This is a level of destruction and power that nobody's ever seen before.
Yeah, and actually, there's the bad side of nuclear, which is a nuclear war, very bad side. But there's also, I think, nuclear electricity generation is underrated.
You're right.
And it's actually, people have this fear of nuclear electricity generation.
So maybe I'm in the wrong with this.
Of electricity
really?
generation, it's just a huge.
Well, obviously, coal, fossil fuels is a terrible way.
If you look at the injuries and deaths, caused by, say,
I guess there's not too many choices to go for.
But just any kind of mining operation.
What other options are there?
And there's a certain number of injuries and deaths per year. And you compare that to nuclear. Nuclear is actually way better. So it's underrated as a
cleaner by strides.
Source, and I think it's something that's worth reconsidering. But there's so much regulation that people can't get it done.
Yeah, all right.
So
Hey.
that,
maybe they'll have to change the name.
You know,
The name is just, it's a rough name. There are some areas like
it's a rough
like when
name.
you see what happened in
Good bad
right.
branding. The
We'll have to
branding's rough.
rebrand it. We'll have
Fission
to give it a
generators.
good name. We'll name
That's
it
what we'll
after
call
you
them.
or something. You know,
No,
it has. Hey, it has a branding problem. You know, when you see what happened,
it does have a branding problem.
when you see what happened in Japan, where they say you won't be able to go on the land for about 3,000 years. Did you ever see that? And in Russia, where they had the problem, where they, there's a lot of bad things happened, and they have a problem. And they say that in 2,000 years, people will start to occupy the land again. You know, you realize it's pretty bad.
No, that's not true.
But you're
No,
right
no,
about it. It's amazing.
It's actually not that bad. So like after
Really?
Fukushima happened in Japan, like people were asking me in California, are we worried about like a nuclear cloud coming from Japan? I'm like, no, that's crazy. It's actually, it's not even dangerous in Fukushima. I actually flew there and
Well, yeah,
and
that's
ate
true.
locally grown vegetables on TV to prove it. And I donated a solar water treatment, a solar powered system for a water treatment plant. And
Yeah, but you haven't
because the
been
danger
feeling
is
so
just
well lately, and I'm worried about it.
no, but I mean,
I'm
it's just
only kidding.
it's fine, It's like Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed, but now they're like full cities again. So
Right.
it's
Well, that's
really
great.
not
That's
something that
That's
um,
great.
so it's not as scary as people think, basically. But um, let's see. I mean, are there some other topics we should touch on? Like lawfare. I think
Well,
we need to be concerned about.
what they've done to this country.
Obviously,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we just won the big
I mean,
case in Florida. This was a Biden administration did something that's never been done in this country, and that's go after their political opponent, me, with this nonsense and just nonsense. And the big case in Florida we won, but they always pick a judge and a jury, and they use the local DAs, they use the local attorney generals, like Fani, Fani, spelled Fani, Fani.
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's all a big hoax, and it's all run from there. Like in Manhattan, one of the top people from the Justice Department went in, ran Manhattan, ran the state. The Letitia James deal was run by a person from the Department
Honestly,
of Justice.
I couldn't tell you anything about this.
They've never done this before.
I am not
and they
informed.
set up a very bad precedent. It's called lawfare, warfare. It's a terrible thing, and never happened in our country. It does happen in banana republics and third world countries, but it's never happened. And the incredible thing is it actually drove my numbers up because people see, fortunately I have a platform like you, or, in
more
all
or less
fairness,
propaganda.
like a conversation
It delegitimizes the
where
person,
I can talk
your
about it
opponent.
and people understand. I mean,
Gotcha. Okay.
You fight for election integrity and you end up getting indicted because you're fighting for election integrity. And when the day comes that you can't fight for election integrity, you don't have a country anymore.
Nope.
So what happens
Give
is
them a
they
right.
went after their political opponent, me. Now Biden's, close to vegetable stage, in my opinion. Okay, I looked at him today on the beach, and I said, why would anybody allow him? The guy could barely walk. Why would anybody allow him? Does he have a political advisor that thinks this looks good? He thinks this looks good because it looks so
Not
bad.
a good one. Not the correct one.
It's ridiculous. I mean, and he's been doing that for a long time. He can't lift the chair. The chair weighs about 3 ounces. It's meant for children and old people to lift, and he can't lift it. The whole thing is crazy.
Well, he's clearly not, he's clearly like, we just don't have a president right now.
You don't have a president, and she's going to be worse than him because she
legit
is a San Francisco liberal who destroyed San Francisco, and then as Attorney General, she destroyed California.
Terrible.
You talk about location, and we're talking about the sun and the water and all. There's nothing better than California. She has destroyed that. She was the original DA. She was the original
by far
in San Francisco. She was the original.
Has every single biome you could ever think of.
What she
that all
has
exists
done
on
to
this
California
earth
is
in one place.
Well, you know better than I do. You
cool.
just left California for a lot of those reasons, and what she's done with crime, with cashless bail, where you kill somebody. I mean, we have states now you kill somebody and they let you out right away. I mean, you don't have to even put up, and then they never find the people unless they kill again, and then they let them out again. Our country is becoming a very dangerous place, and she is a radical
dumping
left
ground.
San Francisco
That's what our country's
liberal,
turning into.
and now she's trying to protect.
Just a
now
dumping
she's
ground.
looking like she wants to be more Trump than Trump. if that's possible. I don't think it's possible. But she wants to be more Trump than Trump.
Yeah.
I want a wall.
I think that's,
you know, she
yeah.
wants to release all the
Yeah.
prisoners that are in detention, and some of these guys are really bad.
Right.
That just came
Yeah, I
out
just saw
today.
that.
She
Yeah.
doesn't want to build the wall, even though the walls work. Walls and wheels. You know, in your business, everything you
I
do
love
is
when he said
obsolete.
that.
Almost,
There's only
well,
two
not the
things that
tunnels,
work that we
but
guarantee
everything
work.
is obsolete. Even your rocket ships, they're
Except
like
for
a month later, they're obsolete. You find a better way to. The only thing that's not obsolete is a wall and a wheel. And the wall, you know, I built hundreds of miles of wall.
Oh my god, that shit's so funny.
That's why we had such good
So
numbers.
funny to me.
I was going to add 200 miles. We bought it. We could have flipped it up in 3 weeks, and they sold it for 5 cents on the dollar. That meant, I said, wow, that means that they actually do want to have open borders.
Yeah.
She wants to have open borders.
Legitimate.
And now she's going like she's tough on the border. It's such a lie.
Yeah, this is simply not true. This is simply
No,
not
and
true.
everybody knows
it's
it's
simply
not true. It's a
Exactly.
disgrace that she can say it.
Yeah, legit.
No, I
She's
mean,
strictly
obviously
lying to you
what's
guys.
happening sort of overnight is
The only thing that comes out of her mouth is a
rewriting
fucking web of
history
lies.
and making Kamala sound like a moderate when in fact she is far left, like far left.
Worse than Bernie Sanders. She is considered
Yeah, I'd
more
much rather
liberal
Bernie.
by far.
I'd much rather a
Bernie
socialist
Sanders.
Bernie
She's
than
a radical left
fucking
lunatic.
liberal
And if she's gonna be
leftist
our president,
Kamala.
very quickly, you're not going to have a country anymore. And she'll go back to all of the things that
I
she
say the
believes
first
in.
month.
She believes in defunding
Before
the
December
police.
ends,
She believes in
we'll
no
lose our entire
fracking,
country.
Zero. Now all of a sudden she's saying, no, I
hate
really
that.
want to see fracking.
She's so stupid.
If they got in, the day she got in, she'll end fracking. And by the way, if people
how
didn't
terrible.
think that, the lunatics that really believe in that, they won't vote for her. You know, like the Palestinians and Israel. She is so anti-Israel, and she's bad for both. Biden actually did something that was impossible. Both sides hate him. You know, both sides. That was a hard thing to do. Unification.
Could you imagine no one liking you? Wouldn't that be fucking something?
I mean, Netanyahu came to give a talk to a joint Senate and House sitting, and I was there, and Kamala stood him up. You know, what does that say?
I think it's highly disrespectful.
Says a
and
lot.
I say, if you're a Jewish person or if you believe in Israel, if you're a person that, you know, is very pro-Israel, if you vote for her, it's worse than Biden. And Biden was bad. But if you vote for her, you ought to have your head examined. And you see tonight, I mean, as we're doing this, I'm seeing reports coming that they expect an attack tonight or tomorrow from hundreds and maybe thousands of rockets. You know, their Iron Dome, as they call it, as we all call it, but their shield,
even
that
though
they
we
built,
paid for it.
that can be swamped. We'll use the term that's appropriate, swamped. But they swamp it by shooting enough missiles. You know this better than anybody. By shooting enough missiles, they can't defend themselves. You know, they just obliterate the whole place. And that's what some people think they're looking to do. And we have no leadership. There's no respect for the United States of America with these people. And I'm telling you, she'll be worse than him because she's a believer in being radical left, and he wasn't.
I think you're right. I mean, you really
Literally.
It's important for the public that may be listening to this to look at Kamala's track record, you know, before the last month, and say, is that a track record you agree with? And I think if you're an independent moderate, you definitely would not agree with it.
No,
because it is her
not
behavior has
even
been far
in the
left,
slightest.
and we're seeing just an overnight propaganda attempt to rewrite history and make it sound like Kamala's moderate when she in fact is not moderate.
No, she's an extremist.
Her running mate,
the most extremist person you could possibly ask for.
Legislation, tampons in boys' bathrooms.
Disgusting.
Okay? Now,
Don't even get me
all
started.
I
That shit pisses me off.
Tampons in boys' bathrooms. And that means she believes in that too. I mean,
yeah, that's disgusting.
She picked this guy because he was the closest to her. A lot of people thought she'd pick sort of the opposite, but she picked an anti-Israel radical left person. But she is far worse, they say, than Bernie Sanders. If we have her as a president, if we have a Democrat at this
Except for RFK can't even get any kind of foot in the door, especially not now.
I think it's a massive.
He just got thrown to the curb.
I think we're in massive trouble, frankly, with the Kamala.
No, Trump is the right choice. Trump is the only choice.
And I think really it's essential that you win for the good of the country, for this election. And I mean, I'm just stating my opinion. Now, you know, you may have seen this, but I got a letter from the
but you
EU
need to have a good
Commission,
leader.
like, saying, you know,
And
to
someone
not
who
have
can't even speak
disinformation
properly really won't be intimidating
during this
and
discussion
put the
that we're
fear in
having,
your
like,
enemies.
And, you know,
which
there's a lot of
literally
attempts
you need, and they talked about that earlier.
Censorship and to force censorship, even on Americans from other countries. And, you know, what do you think about that?
Well, I know the European Union very well.
Well, he had COVID to deal with.
They take great advantage of the United States in trade, as you know.
We're talking all of his efforts and all the resources gone
NATO,
into that.
We protect them, and yet if
he'll save this
you
world.
Build a car in the United
Not
States,
just our country.
You can't sell it in Europe. You just can't sell it. It's impossible. The same thing with our farmers. Our farmers find it very difficult to do business. You know, we have a deficit with them.
Our poor farmers, honestly.
$50 billion, which people don't know. It sounds so nice, the European Union, but let me tell you, they're not as tough as China, but they're bad. And I let them know it. And that's probably why they notified you. No, they don't treat our country well. We defend them, you know, with Ukraine. So we're in for 250 billion, and they're in for about 71 billion, and they have the same size. If you add up the European nations, that, you know, in terms of an economy, it's about the same size, wouldn't you say, as us? And they're in, and they're in much greater risk. They're right there. We have an ocean separating us from. In this case, the enemy would be Russia.
I guess so.
It used to be for the Soviet Union, but let's assume they're close enough. And what happens is they're in for 70-something million. I think even less than that, billion, and we're in for about 250 billion, and it could be a lot higher than that.
Yeah, which is ridiculous.
And I say, why aren't you going to equalize? Why aren't they paying what we're paying? And they're in much more, you know, it's much more important for them because of the fact that, you know, they're right near there. I mean, they're all sort of in that location. We're not. But they should, and I did it with NATO. There were only 7 countries that were paid up in NATO out of 28 at the time. And the United States was the United States was subsidizing NATO, tremendously subsidizing NATO. And I said, I went in and I said, you got to pay up. If you don't pay up, we're not going to defend you any longer. I took a lot of heat, but you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in. And you know.
I think a lot of the public isn't aware of the fact that the United States pays a disproportionate share of the NATO expenses.
And then we get taken advantage of on trade. So think about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, the point of
seriously
NATO is
taken advantage
Europe,
of,
and it's you know. It's like, then, okay, well, why is the United States paying disproportionately more to defend Europe than Europe? That doesn't make sense. That's not fair.
No, this is why we're $35 trillion in debt.
Well, you know, when you talk about cost cutting and savings and everything else, I mean, honestly, look, there's nobody that feels worse about the Ukraine situation than I do, because I know it would have never happened.
Exactly. He would have stopped it day one.
He was very
the second there's any talk about it, it would have never happened.
The Russia hoax, and they said I had a phone call with him. He said it was a perfect phone call. It was a great phone call. He could have grandstanded and, you know, said, oh, he was very threatening. He said, no, it was a very nice phone call. I called him up to congratulate him on his win, and you end up getting impeached because these people are lunatics.
Yeah.
You know, I was talking about the difference from the people within and the enemies on the outside. In many cases, the people from within are more dangerous for our country.
Any TV show you watch, Game of Thrones,
if you have
anything.
a smart president, you're not going to have a problem with them. You're going to do things.
Yeah.
Now, they've taken advantage of us incredibly, but you're going to do things with the right person.
Yeah, well, I think it's obvious that you're a believer and an advocate of free speech, because during your first term as president, you were attacked relentlessly every day, often very unfairly with false attacks, and you didn't try to shut down the media. You didn't try to.
No, he goes on there and answers the questions, trying to reassure them.
That says a lot.
Well, the good thing is that
I agree,
Elon. And some people, very few, we can get the word out. Although sometimes it's hard because they don't want to print it. You know, like we're having a great conversation right now. Kamala wouldn't have this conversation.
No.
She can't, because she's not
God,
smart.
it would be an arguing.
You know, she's not a smart person, by the way. She can't have this conversation. And Biden, we don't even have to talk about it. I mean, he couldn't have this conversation. He would have given up on the first half of a question.
Yep.
He would have walked
It would have
out.
lasted
He
about
would have
5
said, "Where
minutes
am
instead
I?
of the
Where
2
am I
hours that
going?"
it's been.
So anyway, but
Yeah,
no, he wouldn't have this.
That's true.
Not a lot of people would have this conversation, but
And
we
the fact
cover
that
a lot
Elon's
of
agreeing with
territory.
that, it just blows my
But
mind.
the beauty is that
It's great.
we can
I'm
have a
glad.
conversation, and
Yes, you
I'm
can actually
able
have a
to get it out
conversation.
without because I get
I think
treated
this is
unfairly.
this
by
is a
the
really
press.
big point. You can actually have a conversation with you.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
And you can't have a conversation with Biden or Kamala. It's like not. It's not possible.
That's true.
Oh my God!
So
Oh my God! And there's people that'll actually vote for
So
her.
it's just impossible.
Well, but think of
There's
it.
people
We
that
need a
saying that they're
man
their queen and
or person who's unbelievably
2024,
sharp in
it's
order
like-
to stop all
it's
the
disgusting.
nuclear danger and all the dangers that I'm talking about. And I got along with all these. I got along with Kim Jong-un. We had dinner. We had everything. And
people think that's a bad thing, but it's great.
Really liked me, and I got along with him really well.
That's
By
how
the
you
way,
create
he's-
world peace.
He's the absolute boss over there. A lot of people said, "Oh, do you think he really?"
That's for
Let
sure.
me tell you, I saw things that you don't want to know about. He is the boss. But we had a good relationship.
Yeah, his caterers.
And he doesn't like
the people that
Biden. He considers.
I don't
him
even want to talk
a
about
stupid
it.
man,
North
he
Korea is
said. He's a stupid
disgusting.
man.
Also,
Well, at least he speaks his mind. But in
The
this country, you're not
child
sort of allowed to say it.
crap
but
that
I guess
goes
you are.
on.
You should be allowed to say it
Yeah.
if it's true. But we need smart people, and we need people that have an ability to lead. And she doesn't have that ability. Can you imagine? Now Chairman
No.
Xi
Not
very
even
well.
close.
Can you imagine her and him negotiating or
No, it's
even
silly. It would be
standing
silly.
together? It is the whole concept
Yeah.
is ridiculous. She is terrible. She's terrible. But she's getting a free ride. I
It
saw a
would-
picture of her
Yeah, yeah.
on Time Magazine today. She looks like the most
strongest
beautiful
woman.
actress ever to live. It was a drawing,
whoa!
and
All right,
actually,
Trump.
she looked very much like our great first lady, Melania. She looked.
Wow.
Didn't look.
Yeah.
She didn't look like Camilla. That's right. But of
I
course,
didn't
she's a
expect that
beautiful
one.
woman. So we'll leave it at that.
Really good for him.
Yeah. Well,
Holy
maybe,
shit.
Like
I
think
didn't
part of
expect
what,
that.
People in America want to. People in America want
Holy
to
crap.
feel excited and inspired about the future. They want to feel like the
It's true.
future is going to be better than the past, and that
Literally,
America's
that's all we
gonna
ask
do
for.
things that are greater than we've done in the past. Reach
Right.
new heights that make you proud to be an American.
Exactly.
And excited about the future.
Right now, it's hard to be proud.
They want
And,
the American
I think
dream
this-
back. They want the American dream back. More important
Amen.
than anything else.
Amen.
It's like you don't have that today because the people they've been just sucked. They see incompetent people running our. The Biden thing is very interesting. People just found him to be incompetent, and when I debated him,
We need
I
to
was like,
define a different
"Is
word,
this for real?" It was.
a
Yeah,
harsher
it's
synonym
it
for it.
was just absurd. But I think there are some grand projects that we could do. I mean, I think like we could build a base on the moon. We could send American astronauts to Mars.
India's already working on that.
Build high speed connections that are
Yeah,
more
exactly.
advanced than anything else in the world.
Bullet
between our
trains
cities,
that
so people
connect
have
all
fast
different
transport.
countries.
It's possible to solve traffic with tunnels.
Right.
Yes.
We already made progress.
Yes,
great progress
that's
in
what I
Vegas doing
care
that.
about. That right
And
there.
and just do things that are exciting and inspiring and make the future feel like it's better than
Amen.
the past.
Well, I saw what
like,
you did in Vegas,
honestly.
and I'll tell you, it was amazing. I got to see. I took a big glimpse at it, and it's incredible. It's incredible, and you could do that all over. You could do that all over. It's deep.
Yeah,
You don't
and
even need much structure. Assuming you're in the right areas.
No, it's straightforward.
It's amazing.
So I think we could do some things that like China's got incredible high speed rail between its cities, but I think it's actually possible with tunnels if with deregulation with an ability to actually where it's like legal to actually do the tunnels. Then you could have high speed tunnels that are actually better than anything else in the world for high speed transport between cities. And that
Yeah, I
would
know
be
the bullet
something
train, the
Americans can
maglev
say,
train
"Wow,
that we have
okay,
is
we've got something that's cooler than anyone else
Top
in the
tier.
world." That's the kind of thing that makes you proud to be an
And
American.
much
Yeah,
safer
exactly.
than surface trains, where there is a danger there. With people, with crazy
Yeah.
people, it's much safer, much better. And it's sad because I've seen some of the greatest trains. I find it fascinating, and I've seen the systems and how they work, and the bullet trains they call them, I guess.
yeah the maglev
And
train.
they go
There you go.
unbelievably fast,
I'm
unbelievably
one step ahead of you
comfortable,
guys.
with no problems. And we don't have anything like that in this country. Not
No.
even close.
Like exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense that we don't. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
Literally.
I think also like there's, I'm kind of hopping on the excess regulation, but I think something that that I think people can generally understand is that what happens with laws and regulations is that there's more and more of them every year, and
Yeah,
unless there's
there's
a process to clean them up, eventually everything becomes
You're right.
illegal, and that actually it slows down the development of new technologies.
I know
I mean,
you
if you take this sort
become
of like I think
45 hoops you have to jump
there's
through
room
to
for
make
some
anything
reform
happen.
at the FDA for
Yeah.
improving the speed with which we approve drugs that could help save lives and improve people's
Yeah.
lives.
That's another
And
thing
I
people
worked
are
very
scared
hard on
about with
that. You know,
Trump
we got that
is
down
the regulations and
to
all
the
that.
lowest number ever.
Everyone
And
thinks
we
it's a
got
bad thing, but he's not going to do anything
therapeutics
negative with it.
approved in the FDA.
It's only positive.
That people can't even believe the speed. But I took them on. I don't think they like me too much, but I got things approved in the FDA at numbers that they wouldn't believe. And, you know, it's a very bureaucratic group. Actually, it's a fine group of people in many cases. I got to know a lot of them, but I was pushing them really hard for Regeneron, for so many different things that were really pretty amazing. But the FDA takes too long. It's 12 years to get a product approved. I got it down to 4, and I got some things done very quickly. But it's really something that is going to have to be worked on because it takes too long. Just takes too long.
yeah, it just takes too long, and it's you end up in the same with the approval, but it just it takes years instead of something that I think could potentially take
Yeah.
months, and that improves people's lives. I
Yeah.
think I just wanted to sort of hop on this point that like there has to be an active process for reducing rules and regulations, because otherwise they just keep building up every year,
Yep.
and you get like hardening of the arteries, and eventually everything's illegal or takes forever, and then we just we just ossify as a society. We can't make any progress,
No.
and that's it's a really big
Well, you
deal.
know, Elon, just
So
getting back to the FDA for 1 second, I got something done called Right to Try. This is where you can go in and if you're terminally ill, you can use a space age, medicine or whatever it may be. We have the best doctors, the best labs in the world. We really do. But people would go to other countries because you couldn't use the product, even if they thought it worked, because it's going through the FDA. I got it approved where you can you basically you look, nobody wanted, the doctors didn't want it because of the liability, the country didn't want it, our country, because they didn't want to get sued. These are people terminally ill. The insurance companies didn't want it, and the pharmaceutical companies, nobody wanted it. I got everybody into a room, and we came up with an agreement that you won't get sued. And also, they didn't want it on their record. If somebody's terminally ill and they die after taking a drug, they didn't want that on their record. So we set a separate list. If somebody was, so it wouldn't count as a negative. Okay. And as you know, we got it done. We have saved Right to Try. They've been trying to get this done for 58 years, and it sounds simple, but it wasn't, because the insurance companies, nobody wanted it, but we got it done. Somebody you sign a document that you're not going to sue the insurance companies, the country, you're not going to sue anybody. And we got it done, and we're saving tens of thousands of lives. Right to Try. Hopefully you never need it, but if you do, you don't have to travel to Asia. People, if they had money, they go to Asia, they go to Europe. If they don't have money, they go home and die. That's what happened. They'd go home and die.
That's so terrible.
Well, I mean, and actually, to give Europe some props here, it's like if a drug is approved in Europe, which has a crazy amount of regulations, it should obviously be approved in the U.S.
Yeah.
I mean, they get more regulations than we do. So
literally,
why would a drug be approved in Europe and not in the U.S.? That's crazy.
Well, we did it. We did something that really they've been trying to do it for 50 years, and they just couldn't get it done, and I got it done. And it's really something. But you're right. Some people go to Europe because a drug isn't approved here, but it's approved in Europe, and it's a drug that, generally speaking, would work. It's pretty crazy.
Absolutely,
like using fish skin on like burn victims and stuff is not like typically allowed around here.
Cons and like these are the risks. These are the risk, and like you make your own decision.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, I think just in sort of closing up, and by the way, I'm looking at the numbers. You got a lot of people listening.
Yeah, still 1.1
I hope you don't get
million.
nervous, because you got a lot of people listening to you right now, like 60 million or something. What is that number? It's crazy. It's amazing how you can see that right away. How many? What is the number? Wow.
All I see is 1.1.
What is it?
60.
Well,
wow.
I think in terms of people,
that's bigger than you said. You said 25, and you're much more than double that number, 25 million. I think you're going to be 60 or 70, and I guess over a period of
Where?
time. Hey, I congratulate you. Do I get
all
paid
I
for
see is the
this or not?
1.1.
Well,
I don't know where they're seeing
I
that,
think
but
actually, in terms of the number of people that will hear this conversation over the
hundreds of
next,
millions,
few days to
Right.
weeks,
if not a billion.
it's going to be hundreds.
That's
of
what they
millions.
say. Yeah, that's good. Well, look, it's an honor. I just asked this.
And it's an
are you
honor to
better
be able
off
to witness this
now,
live.
or were you better off?
And it's an
when I
honor
was
for all of you
president?
people in chat
Nobody's
sticking
better
with me
off
the
now.
entire
You know,
time.
we put out polls
Thank you guys
on
so
that,
much.
and nobody's better off now. Inflation has killed it. And, you know, they also feel very unsafe. You look at what's going on with a lot of different things. You look at the riots we had at the colleges over, I mean, it's ridiculous, but all of the riots, they just feel unsafe. And now they really feel unsafe because you have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. Maybe I'll call it Kamala migrant crime. But
You know, I mean, with all these things, I always try to get to the ground truth by just asking people. And, you know, my mom lives in New York, and I was like, you know, Mom, you know, do you know, have any of your friends, you know, been attacked or assaulted? And she said, yeah, 3 of her friends in 3 separate incidents were assaulted just in recent months, just walking around the streets of New York. And I said, well,
That's so wild.
What happened to the people that assaulted them? Oh, nothing. They got away. Like, and they just know
they always get away.
nothing's going to, and they don't even bother reporting it because there's
like, what are you going to do about it?
They're not going to, you know, people are not going to get prosecuted.
No.
They just let, you know, violent criminals out in New York.
The only one that gets prosecuted is Donald Trump. They prosecute Trump.
Yeah. I mean,
amen.
It's just obviously messed up.
Oh, it's terrible.
If violent criminals are being getting off scot-free, and meanwhile the you know, New York spending massive resources prosecuting you. And it's like, what's this, you know, and I think the sort of sensible public looks at this and says, what the heck's going on here? This is obviously abuse of the legal system. You know, the legal system is supposed to be protecting the public from violent criminals, and it should be obviously allowing the public to make their own decision about who should be president, as opposed to, you know, some you know,
electoral college
case.
Once they start this precedent,
whatever,
because this can go on with the next one. I mean, this is a very bad precedent what they're doing in terms of, you know, going after their political opponent, and that's all it is. It's going after their political opponent, and then you get a judge who's, you know, a strong Democrat, and I'm being nice when I say that. In many cases, crooked as hell. But you get a judge, and you go into an area where a Republican gets 3 or 4% of the vote, and, you know, you'll have a jury pool with people that hate Republicans or hate. It could also be the other way, though, because it could start the other way in areas where they hate Democrats, and you get into a Pandora's box. It's a very dangerous thing for this country, and a very dangerous thing even for the state. New York City is losing. New York City and state lose a lot of business over what they did to me, because these people say, we don't want that to happen to us. That's no justice system. You have an unfair system of justice, and it's costing New York State a tremendous amount of money. People are leaving and companies are leaving, and they won't come back. So, you know, all of that stuff is important. But the economy now is the big thing, and we can turn that economy up so fast, and people are going to be back again. We're going to get rid of inflation.
I think there's a lot of opportunity.
Right.
Absolutely. So.
And I just want to congratulate you. You've done an amazing job.
Honestly, I love Elon.
You have definitely got a fertile mind.
Yeah.
You know, we can talk. You and I can talk about rockets.
Well, it's kind of you to say. Thank you.
Tunnels. We can talk about tunnels and rockets and electric cars. So many things. And now you're into the AI, and that's going to be another beauty, I'll say. So it's,
I'm glad Elon has to be part of that. Otherwise, there won't be regulations, and it won't be done right.
And I congratulate you.
That will be the thing to kill us before nukes.
Thank you. And, well, I mean, I just say here, you know, here's to an exciting, inspiring future that people can look forward to and be optimistic, and excited about what happens next. And that's the kind of future that I think you will bring as president, and that's why I endorse you.
Well, I appreciate that. That endorsement meant a lot to me. Not all endorsements mean that much, to be honest. Your endorsement meant a lot. And, you know, we have a phrase, make America great again. It's pretty simple, but it really says that we want to make America great again. And we can do it.
How can you question that?
We can do it now.
MAGA.
But if
How
we
could
were
you not
going to
love
suffer
MAGA?
another 4 years like we've suffered for the last 4 years, I'm not sure the country can ever come back. That's how bad it is. It's so bad. We have to do a lot of things.
I think that's a very real risk.
Yeah, it's a big risk.
That's a very real risk.
Yep.
And it's, I'd just like to note to people listening, like I've not been very political before, and if you look at my record, I've actually been. I'm not like some they try to paint me as like
He's
a
like
far right guy,
anti.
which is absurd because I'm like making electric vehicles and
Yeah.
solar and batteries, helping with the environment, and I actually I supported Obama. I stood in line for 6 hours to shake Obama's hand when he was running for president, and so it's not like I'm like some sort of dyed-in-the-wool long-term Republican. I'd call myself, historically a moderate Democrat, but now I feel like we're really at a critical juncture for the country, and I think a lot of people thought the Biden administration would be a moderate administration, but it's not, and obviously we're just going to see
the exact opposite.
An even further left administration with Kamala. That's my honest opinion.
Kamala.
I mean, her dad is literally. I mean, she was brought up as an actual. Her dad is a Marxist economist. You can Google it. I mean, it's not a. We're not making this up.
I didn't know that. I had no clue.
Brought up. So, and we want to have a future that is prosperous, and I think we're just at this critical juncture, and I think this is a case of the America is kind of at a fork in the road, and
true.
And I think it will take the path to, like, you are the path to prosperity, and I think Kamala is the opposite. Then
yes,
that's my honest opinion. I'm gonna get attacked like crazy, and
no, you're not, Elon.
Quite a bit of lawfare
we
myself.
love you, Elon.
But I'm just trying to tell people my honest opinion, and I haven't been really active in politics before, and I'm just trying to point out that my track record historically has been moderate, if not moderate, slightly left, and so this is to people out there who are in the moderate camp to say, I think you should support Donald Trump for president. And I think it's actually a very important junction in the road, and we're in deep trouble if it goes the other way.
Well, I want to thank you, and I actually always did think of you as somewhat left. I must say that. So it's even more of an honor to have your endorsement. I know how strong you feel about it, but when you think of her, San Francisco 15 years ago, I had a great friend, Bob Tish. He said it's the greatest city in America, and now it's almost not livable there. And California likewise. And she was involved in the destruction of San Francisco and the destruction of California. And she will be involved in the destruction of our country if people are so unwise as to elect her. And I hope that doesn't happen. And I hope the elections are going to be run honestly. And
I doubt it. There's already so much snaky shit going on that I highly doubt it.
And we can do it fairly quickly. And we have to get rid of the criminals that have been, given to us by other countries as they laugh. They laugh at us. They think we're stupid to accept these people. These are radical, stone-cold killers in many cases, and terrorists. And they're in our country by the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
And we have to take them out.
Yeah, I mean, if I could summarize it, perhaps, I think these are issues that I think most people in America would agree with, which is that we want safe and clean cities, we want secure borders, we want sensible government spending, we want to restore both the perception and reality of respect in the judicial system. Stop the lawfare.
Is that so hard to ask?
That
sounds like the bare minimum. Sounds like we should already have that.
Right-wing positions. I think those are just
exactly
just common sense.
Exactly.
And that's,
literally.
I mean, would you agree with that?
100%. I don't understand.
Literally.
The whole, they call it progressive. They don't like the word liberal anymore, but call it liberal or progressive.
I wonder why.
I don't understand how somebody could say that it's okay for them to empty prisons into our country. And again, I told you, their crime rates all over the world are going way down, which makes sense. In fact, the next time what we'll do is, if something happens with this election, which would be a horror show, we'll meet the next time in Venezuela, because it'll be a far safer place to meet than our country. Okay, so we'll go. You and I will go, and we'll have a meeting.
Please don't say that, dude. I don't got the money to move out of this country.
Their crime rates coming down, and our crime rates going through the roof. And it's so simple. And you haven't seen anything yet, because these people have come into our country and they're just getting acclimated, and they don't know about being politically correct law enforcement or lack of law enforcement. And our police, I have to just end with this. We have great police. We have great law enforcement, but they're not allowed to do their job. They have to be able to do their job
Yeah.
without being destroyed.
Well,
Yeah.
absolutely, and it's obviously demoralizing if you're a police officer risking your life to to arrest violent criminals who could kill you,
And you're
do kill you
scared to be
sometimes.
thrown in jail.
And then you
just
arrest
doing
the
your
violent
job.
criminal, and then the DA doesn't prosecute and that's let the guy out.
Right.
Well, then why
yeah.
should a police officer risk their life?
Yeah, exactly.
To arrest a violent felon.
Well, even worse, Elon,
if nothing's going to happen.
Even worse, they prosecute the police officer. They go after it and they prosecute the police officer, and they take away his pension, they take away his job. He loses his family. He loses
everything.
His house.
And he's looked at like an evil.
I thought it was
evil
very
demon.
telling, incredibly telling that when there was that case where sort of a gang of thugs beat up police officers. I think it was in Times Square in New York, and then nothing happened to those guys. They were let out, zero bail, and I think a bunch of them were given free tickets to California. Well, what is it? I mean, that is a gross indignity against the United States, and that's how. This is insane. Have we lost all pride? How can such a thing be allowed to occur?
I've never seen anything. We see where they get shot. It's a very dangerous profession, but it's something they're very proud of, and they want to be able to do their job. But I've seen them get shot. I've seen a lot of things. But I've never seen where these guys are standing in the middle of a big street, everybody watching them, and they're literally boxing, punching, stand-up fighting a police officer. There were two of them. And you had about six of these guys, and they're punching the hell out of them. And in their own country, they would be dead.
Killed.
If they did that. They'd be shot.
They'd have a sheep freaking drag them around the freaking town.
And, they come from these
being
countries,
like, if you do this, this will be you.
To realize that we don't do that in this country. But in their own country, if they stood on a street and had a fight with a police officer, they would be shot. There's no political correctness. And it's such a sad,
it's disgusting.
Such a sad thing to see. And that's the reason you have crime, by the way, because we don't do anything about it.
Yeah, we just cannot have a situation where our police officers are beaten up on camera by a gang of illegal immigrants, and then nothing happens to
and they're allowed to walk free
and beat up the cops. I mean, and they're let out. This is unacceptable.
Well, we're going to change it, and we're going to get them out of the country. When I first got involved, they said you couldn't get them back to these countries. You couldn't take them back. In the case of Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, some others, you couldn't get them
El
back.
Salvador
I said,
was
really?
crazy.
Oh,
they did such a great job of cleaning up their crap.
Obama, he couldn't get them back. They'd fly them in, and they'd put planes on the runways.
We should lead by example with that.
He couldn't land the plane. They'd bring them back. And the generals told me, sir, we can't bring them back. The countries won't accept MS-13 gang members. They won't accept them. And I said, really, how much do we pay these various countries in terms of economic aid, which is also somewhat ridiculous? And the answer was $750 million. I said, good. Tell them they're in default. They're delinquent. We're not going to do it. We're not paying them anymore.
Exactly. Give them the big old middle finger.
And you know what happened? They all called me. Every one of them. They said, we would be honored to take them back, sir. We would be honored. It was so easy. But it's one of those things. And we got them back. We took in so many. The MS-13 is probably the worst gangs in the world. They're the most vicious, violent. We took them out of here by the thousands and got them out of here. And their countries took them back. And because I said, you're not getting any more economic aid. And once I said that, they were nice. They wouldn't take them back for Obama. They wouldn't take them back for anybody. And now we have a problem because we have this guy, and they don't take him back anymore with Biden because they don't respect him.
Why would they? There's nothing to respect.
It's got to be done.
Same with Kamala.
Can't have.
There's nothing likable about either of them.
Whether they're citizens or not citizens, we can't have, because they won't prosecute citizens either, not just illegals. So.
I got a Santa.
If it's you can't have violent, repeat violent offenders that are not that don't get incarcerated.
That's right.
Because they will obviously, by definition, continue to.
You sitting down this long.
Hurt people, and I think where part of this comes from is that there's I do sort of consider myself liberal in some ways. I mean, it's just that you want to have empathy for people. Obviously, you want to have empathy
for everybody,
people.
the whole
I totally
world.
agree with that. You want to have
100%.
empathy, but you also have to have empathy for the victims of the criminals. And if you just have empathy for the criminals, it's actually shallow empathy. It's not real. You're not thinking. You're not.
Yeah, that's common
one layer
sense.
deep empathy. You got to say like, if you don't incarcerate this person, who are they going to hurt? Who are they might kill someone, they might rape someone. If you don't incarcerate them, you have to have empathy for the victims. And there's a lack of empathy for the victims of the criminals and too much empathy for the criminals. It doesn't
I can't believe he has to say that.
That's why you want to have deep empathy
That
for
blows my
society as a
mind.
whole.
That blows my mind.
Shallow empathy for criminals.
Right. And we have to give our police officers the dignity and the respect that they deserve. And we have to let them do their job. They can do a great job, but we have to let them do their job. And if we don't do that, it's going to
we're no better than them.
It's going to all disappear. There's never been a society like this where you're allowed to do anything you want and nothing happens. And I'm talking about violent crime. And it's going to get more violent because these are really, really violent people. And we're going to get them out of our country, and we're going to get them back to because they were sent here by the presidents and by the various people that run those countries. And I know every one of those guys. And they're smart people, and they're streetwise people. And they really think that the USA is stupid. They think we're run by stupid people, and they happen to be right. But when I was there, we had no problem. We got them out. We took out thousands of MS-13 gang members. We brought them back. And now, again, it's the same old story. We don't do it. And they actually gave them a big increase in aid. They raised it up to billions of dollars, and they get nothing for it. So, I hope everybody's going to vote for Trump, and we're going to get this country.
I am.
And I didn't need this. I'm like, I didn't.
Everyone that I work with and everyone that I know also will be.
To go through court systems
that.
and go through all the other stuff and run at the same time. I have to run. I have to go through fake trials with, in some cases, corrupt judges, totally corrupt judges. I didn't need it. I had a nice life. I have great locations. I have beautiful oceans that I have places. I
know he could just be relaxing.
But I felt it was
playing
important.
golf every day.
If I had to do it over again, you probably think I'm crazy for
Wouldn't
doing
change.
it, actually. But if I had to do it over again, I would have done it over again because this is so much more important than me or my life. This is
Amen.
We're going to save this country. This country is going down.
I mean,
and these people are bad people that we're running against, and they're liars.
God bless him.
Statements.
Honestly,
they do things that are so bad. They say they're going to make a strong border. They say they've been great on the border, and they've been the worst in history. They say they're going to stop crime.
Like, the facts speak for themselves.
It's so incredible.
Speak for themselves. Like it's got
you can't question
where
facts.
People don't even bother reporting crime in a lot of cities because they know nothing is going to happen. That's what I hear anecdotally from people all the time. So it's just my values. I'm just saying to people out there, like the things I think are important for the future is like we've got to have safe cities, we've got to have secure borders, we've got to have sensible spending, and we've got to have deregulation, and so we can have a prosperous future. And then we want to have some exciting, sort of moonshot projects that people can get fired up about, and that's the future I'm looking for. And I'm pro environment, but I'm not against. I'm not like I don't think we should vilify the oil and gas industry because they're keeping civilization going right now, and but I do think we want to move at a reasonable speed towards a sustainable energy economy. Those are my values, and I think
mine too.
And so I mean that's
common sense.
Why I'm
endorsing you,
president.
Well, I appreciate it. We're going to give incentive to companies to come into our country, not to leave our country. We're going to be giving tremendous incentives. We want companies to build here, not to build in other locations.
Yeah.
And we want to create.
We don't want
jobs.
the billionaires to leave.
And again, it's about the American dream. You don't hear about the American dream anymore, Elon. You don't hear. You're the American dream in the truest sense, but you don't hear about the American dream anymore. And you're going to hear about it. People, they need that incentive to go out and do it. And they're going to love their lives. I mean, they're going to look forward to getting up in the morning and going to a job that they love, not a job that they can't stand, or not any job at all where they have no money, where they literally have no money. And then they end up with violence and lots of other problems. No, we're gonna do some great things. And I learned a lot in the first. We had a great economy and all of that. We rebuilt the military. We did so much, but I also learned the best people. I learned the good people, the smart people, the dumb people, the people that can do things. The people, you learn. When I first came in, I tell people I was in Washington, D.C. only 17 times, according to the fake news media. I was in 17 times. I never stayed over. And you don't know people. You rely on other people to give you names, and then you realize the people you relied on weren't so good. Now, we had great
not
people,
trustworthy.
but we also had some where I wouldn't have, used them had I known. Now I know everybody. And I think we're going to really turn things around fast. We have no choice. Otherwise, we're not going to have a country. And
I really
appreciate this. Has been, to me, it's been a lot of fun being with you. You're an amazing guy. You've done an incredible job and a great inspiration to people.
For real.
Great inspiration.
He's my inspiration.
I hope you keep going and just continue to do
well.
I
would love to grow up and be exactly like Elon Musk.
Coming up, and I think November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country.
Minus having a transgender kid.
Will be the most important election.
I would have never allowed that. I would have read through that contract
in the history
front
of
and
our
back.
country, because if we don't win, I just feel so sorry for everybody.
No, I think we're at a fork in the road of destiny of civilization, and I think we need to take the right path, and I think you're the right path. So I think that's what it comes down to.
Thank you very much, Elon.
God bless.
Great honor.
With the both of them.
We'll do it again sometime, and it's been really fun. And I hope you got a lot of viewers. I hear you got a lot, but I hope you got a lot. I know you got a lot of them. So I appreciate it. I'll see you soon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
You very much. Bye.
Oh my God. Is that it? Is Elon gonna have a little conversation after, or is that it? I think that is it. I think that is the end of the biggest interview in history. Oh yeah, that is it. 3 hours long. 3-hour-long interview. Guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Everyone who stuck this entire time and, listened to me ramble and, watched it with me, thank you so much. I cannot appreciate you guys anymore. All the likes and all the people who followed me because of this live stream. I mean, you guys are literally the pinnacle of love and appreciation. Like, I cannot say anything that makes me appreciate you guys more. I mean, Jessica Jones, thank you so much for sticking. I know you've been here. Hammer, thank you so much for sticking through this. There's a select few of you guys that stayed the entire time. I could not thank you guys anymore. You guys are the best. You guys are what America is, and I hope that we can actually survive. I hope we live until the end of December. If she gets in office, we're not making it past December. I'm sorry. We're not. But thank you guys so much. I hope you have a great night. I have work in the morning. I have to wake up at 5 in the morning, so I'm only going to get 5 hours of sleep, but that's fine. That's fine. It was totally worth it. Once again, literally, thank you so much. You guys are literally the best. You guys are... I could not thank you anymore. I will keep saying that till the day I die. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This was amazing to have all of you guys here. God bless you. God bless America, and I hope you have a great night. We'll see you later. This is Jared Goodwin. Peacing out. We'll see you in the next one. Oh my God. All right, YouTube, you're the last one. Thank you.